Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. It is Wednesday, March 8th, 2023. I'm your host, Simon Grunewald, here as always with my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
What up?
What up, dog? I'm starting today with the slider shut because I realized that it's like 7 a.m. and we've been screaming about like cat sex and singing Derek Carr musicals on the show. So I will open the slider eventually once everyone's gotten their sleep.
You're like a little rooster. You just open the slider a little bit each hour.
And you scream, cat sex!
When I was a young boy, it was like
Leanne just like probably looked over and was like, okay, that's normal.
that's pretty normal.
That's actually what her phone does as an alarm because she got so used to waking up to it that she had to do it. The best part, one of my favorite things about Leanne, like we woke up and she was like, oh shit, I got to leave in 5 minutes. And then I'm in here and I hear coffee beans being fresh ground. Like she's got to get out the door in 5 minutes, but she is not skipping those fresh ground coffee beans.
Priorities, so
you got to have priorities here.
That's
well,
hilarious.
Guys, there was quite a bit of news going on yesterday that I'm excited to get into. Before we do that, we got some people in the chat ready to go for today's show. Tommy down here with a rhyme for us first thing this morning. What's up, Tommy? Welcome in, my friend.
Tommy
with the rhyme said, the Raiders have talent. They could go really far, but to beat Mahomes, I say go get Lamar. Saquon and Jones are back in Big Blue. They just need a receiver or perhaps maybe two. So mixing it up and in trouble once more. Hey, Cincinnati, time to show him the door. Oh, Henry, you are the king and you raise the bar, but if the Titans keep running, you will be nothing left in the jar. Jets are jetting to LA with Rodgers. They will meet. Is he staying in green? Will he gain green? Bring the heat. And I messed up the cadence on that part, but man, I thought I was sad when the Raiders released Carr, but jail is going to be miserable when they swap Cousins for Lamar.
Hell no.
Whew.
Take that rhyme and put it right in the trash where it belongs.
Can you imagine? And these are getting progressively longer and longer to the point where the entire show is just going to be like a Dr. Seuss
three-hour Tommy poem.
The Epic of Gilgamesh, presented by Front Yard Fantasy.
There aren't any actual rumors of Cousins Lamar swap, is there?
I don't think so. That would be. How could you shift the offense from what the Ravens have built around Lamar to Kirk Cousins' style of play?
Well, I will say this. The new offense coordinator, Todd Monken, they're bringing in, he comes from, because there's different trees. There's like the Erhard Perkins, there's the West Coast, there's all these different types of offense. He's the air raid coaching tree, which is what Cliff Kingsbury does in Arizona. It's a lot of 3 wide receiver, 4 wide receiver sets.
Not anymore, he doesn't.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's like, because you think you're going to convince John Harbaugh not to use fullback Patrick Ricard on like 60% of the snaps, Nick Boyle, like it's not happening. You're right. But
can they even put out a 3 wide receiver set? Are there 3 wide receivers on the Ravens?
Yeah, bro. Be Rashad Bateman and Tylan Wallace and Devin Duvern.
You're right. Silly me. That's my bad.
They got James Proche over there.
James Proche. That sounds like a millennial teenager abbreviation. James Proche.
Proche,
bro. That's so Proche.
I think that is everybody that's on.
You approach me. Toss me a Proche.
Yeah. Okay. So they could use some wide receivers. No big deal, dude. Jackson. I saw Todd McShay had Jackson Smith and Jigba mocked to them, but I think we're going to talk about some wide receivers today later on, aren't we, boys?
For Prosh,
Yeah.
for Prosh.
Yeah. All right. So we'll save that talk for a little later on.
Well, guys, we got a lot of news to get into, so I think it's time to go ahead and get into some BYOB. I hope everyone watching brought their own snack, brought their own little something to eat. We got all the stories, we got all the topics. You just got to bring your own breakfast. John Luke, you munching on anything today? Another day has gone by, but I think the word I'm looking for starts with an M, and it sounds kind of French. Something like manger. Something like manger. So there's a word for like eating that sounds like manger that I want to say to you, but I can't remember what it is. So if anyone out there knows it, hit me up.
Bon appetit.
That's a good one. Same category.
Same category, not the right term. I chugged a bowl of strawberry mini wheats right before the show started.
Swallow them whole.
Just swallow them whole. It was rough going down. Let me tell you, though, not the best cereal to chug.
No milk either.
Yeah.
The cool thing about frosted mini wheats is they don't break down inside, so those are going to come out whole too. You're just going to start shooting out little strawberry frosted mini wheats.
You know,
that's fun. That sounds like a good time.
It clings. It's like a Brillo pad for your anus. Frosted mini wheats.
Just take that quote out of context. It's like a Brillo pad for your anus.
We're leaving Florida tomorrow. Our flight out is tomorrow. So I'm going full Florida. Got the shirt, the glasses, key lime pie for breakfast here. And did I tell you guys about the grocery store here called Seed to Table? Have you guys ever heard of this place?
Never heard of it.
Seed to table?
Seed to Table.
No.
Bro, this place is like my favorite nightclub, dude. Like, this place is insane. It's a grocery store, right? But they have not just one bar, multiple bars there. There are live bands. There were people dancing. I was upstairs at the top bar. There's a live band, and I'm watching the combine hanging out, looking down at people, like picking out like apples and like
at a grocery store?
What in the Village's dystopian hell is that grocery store?
Dude, not only that, but there's all this different food, and you can walk around and pick something out, and then they'll cook it for you, and then they'll bring it to your table. I watched a dude pick out a 3-pound tomahawk steak at it was on sale for like $15 a pound, so $45 steak. And then he just came back and sat next to us at the bar, and then they cooked it and brought it, threw it on the bar. And they don't actually charge you anything extra to cook it. So like whatever you're paying for it, like you can go and this guy went and bought a tomahawk steak and a baked potato and like some asparagus, and they just cooked it up. It's amazing.
That's wild. This can only work in a place where everybody is like, where 80+% of the people are 60+, and I think it has to be that way. Because the grocery store needs to be the most exciting part of your day already in order for them to play it up like this for people to do it. You know what I mean? Like the grocery store has to be the event for the people that are going to it. Because like for me, even if the grocery store is like that, I'm getting in and out and going back home because that's where I want to be, or I'm going to do this or that. But if you like Tuesday's grocery store day, and we're going to see Mark, and we're going to get 2 drinks and we got to cook something. And what are you going to get? Like, then it's an event.
They didn't even set it up like that. Like the people down here, they just started doing that, and then they were like, all right, well, we can't stop these guys from coming here and just hanging out, so we might as well turn this place into a party, right? Like the old people were just like, let's meet at the seat table and just crack some beers.
I see we got Scott in here. What's up, Scott? Welcome in, my friend. Wants to know, is Coop golfing today?
Yes.
No golf today. It's actually
Miss Kate
Rose.
He is in fact golfing today. Yeah.
It's Miss Kate Rose's birthday.
Wow.
Today.
Happy birthday.
He's actually busy because he's going to go back there and bury himself in that sand trap.
Yeah, we're going to
odds are you bury yourself in that sand trap today.
Oh my God, I want to do this so bad now. Is go bury ourselves in sand trap, and then when someone comes in to hit their ball, you
got to make sure you bury yourself deep enough that you don't get hit in the nuts with a ball when it like lands in the trap, though. You got to make sure you're a couple inches under there.
I mean, if that happens, it's destined to happen, and it doesn't matter what you do. That was going to happen no matter what.
You're not stopping it, dude. You're not stopping it.
They find me out because if I'm buried in a sand trap, there's a 100% chance you're going to hear coming from underneath the sand just quietly. Bees in the trap. Bees in the trap. I'm just going to be singing to myself under my breath the entire time.
Has anybody ever done that prank? Someone's had to, right?
If I had to guess, I would guess that Eric Andre has probably done that.
It sounds right up his alley.
Just dresses like an octopus or something. Like that's his move, 100%. And again, NKC rules in the chat this morning. Good morning, NKC. How you doing, bro?
What up, NKC? And Scott followed. I was like, could you see Tiger Woods hitting a golf ball when you're buried in a sand trap?
He probably would not be. He would not be amused.
You know what would be even funnier?
Simon just comes jumping out, runs into the pond.
You bury yourself so deep that like you just stay there. You feel Tiger Woods on top of you hitting the ball,
die.
And then right as he after he hits it, you just go, "Good shot." He just hears from under his feet someone say, "Good shot."
Without skipping a beat, he's like, "Thank you," and walks away. This is just a normal occurrence for him.
He's seen that one before.
He's so
Wouldn't be
good.
surprised.
The courses always talk to him. He's actually had a pretty serious stalker for the last 20 years, but the stalker has somehow managed to convince Tiger Woods that he's so good at golf that the courses are speaking to him as the chosen one. But really, this dude's just like hiding in bushes and sand traps and underwater and saying like, and he can't help but encourage him because it's his favorite golfer. Great job.
I want that to be reality.
Punch it out.
Punch it out.
It's like a caddy, dude. I don't can even see.
Use the 7 iron.
You gotta know. I guess if you're burying yourself in the sand trap, at that point you know how far it is from the hole.
Scott wants to know who's the foursome you would pick to play golf with.
I had to pick the rest of the 3, or we have to pick one to join us 3.
Do they have to be golfers? Because I'm just picking anybody I know plays golf. Like I'm picking
Keith.
That's
the
Jordan,
worst pick ever.
Keith. Dude,
you can just call him and ask him to go. You don't need magic.
All the stuff and buy all our food and drinks, and the 3 of us are gonna have a blast.
You think Keith You think Keith has a collared shirt? No chance, dude. No chance, bro.
Exclusively.
He had one, but he thought it was like a tag, so he cut it off with scissors.
It's just got all of his polos are just
that's a great question by Scott though, dude. Folks in the chat, I want to know who you guys are bringing out on your golf trip, and it doesn't have to be golfers. Like you can bring Peyton Manning.
I will bring one golfer, and that's going to be Jordan
not bring
Spieth.
Peyton Manning.
Jordan Spieth is going to be the one golfer I bring along with me.
You bring a golfer with you? Why
I'm
would you
not
bring a
good
professional
enough.
golfer with you?
I know I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough at golf.
Can he teach you things?
Golf with those guys. Like they would be so exhausted by the way that I play.
See, I think I'd be so bad that it would just like after one time watching me swing the club, all pressure from the round would be gone, and so I'd get to meet like the true Jordan Spieth, not the competitive Jordan.
You don't think he's golfed with bad golfers before?
Not this bad.
You'd probably meet the Jordan Spieth that just like puts his foot up on a dash and texts for most of the day.
I'll pick Patrick Reed and I'll kick him in the nuts on hole 7 just for being a general dick.
I like
How
that.
about that?
I think a lot. I think that would be a popular move.
I think so. I think I'd be pretty popular on the Pro Tour after that. Jordan Spieth's also going to be there, and then he's like, "Wow, that dude's pretty cool." And then we're best buds. My plan works.
Best buds plan works.
NKC picked Brady, Goff, Hurts, Ramsey. You got to leave yourself a spot in the foursome, NKC. That's the secret. if you just pick 4,
he's the caddy.
If you pick four famous dudes to go golfing without you. I mean, that happens all the time.
I imagine after Simon and Jordan become best friends, they're both hiding in the sand traps now, trying to mess with Tiger.
Jordan jumps out first, and then Tiger thinks he's clear. And then afterwards, I still go with the classic.
And then you scare him the second time. The first time he doesn't get scared, but the second time he gets him.
Oh, we got him. Well, guys, we got a lot of news to get into today. Things were picking up pretty quickly. And let's start with the big one that we've already talked about quite a bit. The Ravens have placed the non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson at $32 million a year. That's coming from ESPN NFL. So this was the talk yesterday that this is what they were going to do, place this non-exclusive tag on him. And for those of you who haven't seen this tag before, it's not wildly common in the news that we see a high-profile player placed on this tag. What this means is, unlike the normal franchise tag, other teams have the opportunity to make an offer. The Ravens still have first right of refusal. They can choose to match that offer. If they do not and another team signs him, the Ravens are going to get 2 first-round picks in exchange for Lamar Jackson. So the teams in contention that potentially could be looking at this have to have 2 first-round picks available or do trades to make sure they have those 2 available to even put an offer in front of him.
Yeah. This whole situation is interesting. And I've had people from all ends texting me, telling me, hey, like, what are the Ravens doing? Or what is Lamar doing? And it's been interesting to see this whole thing play out. I was thinking more about it yesterday, and I truly think both sides probably operated optimally in terms of their negotiation strategy here. I don't think the Ravens should have signed Lamar Jackson for what he was asking for. I also don't think Lamar Jackson should have settled. And so I think both sides, this is probably the most win-win outcome that we could have gotten.
Right. Yeah, it's just sad because he's such a great player, but at the same time, he's had injury problems. It's tough to give a guy that much guaranteed money. And there are arguments out there, I've seen them a bunch of times, that when you go above X amount of the cap on one player at any position, though there's not a lot of examples of success. If you go back, and the big argument is Drew Brees. You go back and look, he was taking up such a huge part of the cap in like every year except 2009 or whatever year it was they won, that, you know, he's the shining example of, if you start giving one player 15% of your team's cap, the odds of you winning the Super Bowl start going down. So, and look at Tom Brady. He was able to kind of negotiate his contract in a way that it was able to bring on more people, you know what I mean, to sign more guys. So I think that with a guy like that, you really want to not get to a place where you're just talking about guaranteed money, but saying, hey, we'll sign you to 10 years and set up this whole flexible thing where you could be rich forever and part of the franchise forever, and you can help yourself win and get endorsement deals and all this stuff. That's the way to do it. And if he doesn't want to do that, this might be the only way, you know?
Yeah.
Now, there is, Jail, to build off what you said a little bit, the belief is that the Ravens are doing this not because they're unwilling to sign Lamar to a long-term deal of the kind that he wants, but they don't think that's what the market dictates, right? They're saying the market will not dictate this. If you can find it, let's do it. But I
don't think that's necessarily the case. I think what they're saying is that it's too risky for us. The market might do it, but we don't want to set that precedent. And so I think they're saying this is a ton of risk. It doesn't align with our strategy. We're not willing to make this bet. It's too risky for what he is asking for. Not that there isn't some sort of range where they would accept it. Obviously, they are still trying to pursue a long-term deal, but yeah, I think the difference there is they're more thinking about their own strategy, not that necessarily they couldn't fetch that on the market.
Now there is concern from the NFLPA. I saw this from JPA football coming out yesterday, that there isn't going to be another contract given out like Deshaun Watson due to collusion among league owners. Did you guys see this?
No.
And that may be what gave the Ravens the confidence to put this on there. And this isn't a new concern. They aren't just bringing this up right now. They brought this up late last year at the end of the season in an official memo where they stated to all league owners and to the NFL franchise owners, stating the NFLPA argues that the expectation was that fully guaranteed contracts would now become the competition-driven norm for the top players in the league, including quarterbacks negotiating new contracts. The pleading fails to explain the basis of their alleged expectation. The NFLPA further contends that before and during the August 9th ownership meeting, NFL owners and or league executives discussed not agreeing to any additional player contracts with fully guaranteed salaries. So late last year, the NFLPA accused the league owners and general managers of colluding in a league meeting to agree not to give any more fully guaranteed deals. And now this is coming to light publicly.
And their evidence for that is that there was a discussion about it?
Their evidence is that there hasn't been any more fully guaranteed deals. And now what's fueling that fire now is all of the teams. The reason this is getting brought up is all of the teams that have come out and said, we're not interested in Lamar Jackson. The Falcons, the Dolphins, the Panthers, the Commanders, and the Raiders aren't just saying, like, oh, like we'll talk, but maybe it's unlike like they're saying we are not interested. These teams without a QB1 besides the Dolphins coming in saying like it's free to talk to them. You're allowed to just like talk to them. So what are the Falcons doing? Talk to them, see if they'll take a $35 million a year deal and roll with it. So that's what's bringing these up, like these concerns. That's what's highlighting them is the odd behavior of these teams just coming out and saying we're not talking to them.
Well, the thing is there are organizational differences, like they're in the way they go about things. JL made a great point on that it's not even necessarily just that they don't like the player. It's that's not how the Ravens operate. And the Ravens have been one of the more shrewd organizations, right? A good example is compensatory picks. When you let a guy leave in free agency, if you don't sign a player of equal caliber back, that's how you get a compensatory pick. The league hands them out. It's like if you let a really good player leave and you don't sign anybody that good, then you get a third-round compensatory pick. The Ravens, since that was put into place in '95, lead the league with 53 of those, and that's 10 more than the next highest team, right? And if you look at some of the other teams, like let's take the Saints, for example, who just splashed money on Derek Carr, they, over that entire span, have only gotten 9 of those picks. The Ravens have gotten 53, the Saints have gotten 9. There's clear philosophical differences on how they treat those particular picks, how they treat free agents, and their approach. So to sit here and say, just because one team isn't going to give this guy guaranteed money, to accuse all the owners of collusion, I don't know if that's really the case, because we see teams go out and splash big money on guys all the time. I mean, the Browns are second to last on that list with only 12. They're the ones that paid Deshaun Watson, right? So some of these teams are clearly willing to go out and do those contracts, and that shouldn't mean that every single team has to now because one guy got that deal. The NFLPA has to represent the players' best interest, which guaranteed money is in their best interest. But I'm not sure I'm buying this argument that just because this one guy got this mega crazy contract, now everyone does. I don't know about that.
They are motivated to pursue that, like that narrative. So that does make sense. And also the whole like teams coming out saying they're not interested in Lamar feels like not something we should take at face value. This is most likely if you're a team and you are pursuing Lamar, you don't want to go out there and say, hey, we're pursuing Lamar. Hey, everybody, we're pursuing Lamar. Because all of a sudden now you're driving your own price up. They're playing a game. Recognize that they're playing a game right now. And we can't take rumors that are going out at face value because it's like being an NPC character.
Just like it's in the NFLPA's best interest for it to be fully guaranteed money, we have to remember the info coming from the teams. It's in their best interest. This goes to your point, Jay.
100%.
For it not to be fully guaranteed money. So like the distrust that we have towards the NFLPA with this news leak, we should have the same distrust with the team information coming out, talking about the kind of contract talks they're having. Like, of course we're willing to pay that. We just want them to test the open market. No, you're probably full of BS while we're trying to get this done anyways. We're just sitting here waiting for the truth to trickle out of somebody's mouth as they're playing this game, and we have to just be participants.
It cracks me because it feels like a lot of the people who kind of get upset about things like, oh, just pay Lamar, like just pay him whatever, like stop being greedy. Not just Lamar, but the situation. Whenever the situation happens, those people have never played Madden, like the franchise mode Madden, because you realize real quick the constraints you have with the cap or with limitations like that. You pay one guy one thing.
They've never even put together a FanDuel lineup. like they haven't tried to pick 5 players from a Thursday night slate and get it under that salary.
Or like your fantasy team, like people say that these franchises should be making these moves, and it's like, would you ever do that on your fantasy team? Will you just give up all this value for this other thing? Like, It's a game. Recognize the game they're playing.
Exactly. And the thing is, dude, besides maybe like 4 or 5 teams, all these teams are interested in Lamar. They might have their own various reasons.
That's what I'm saying.
Why they can pretend like
we're not pursuing Lamar.
Yeah, like the Dolphins coming out and saying that was pretty easy for the Dolphins to do because they don't have 2 first-round picks. They don't have 2 first-round picks, right? They lost.
We are out on Lamar.
We're out, man. Yeah, it's like, we know. Like you are already out.
Yeah, Rams. Let me guess, you two.
Yeah, the Broncos. The Broncos are out. The Broncos are out on Lamar.
You don't speak for us. But yes,
we're also out.
We're also out.
Everybody else is in, and I'm sure he's going to end up somewhere with a good deal. It just sucks that it had to come to this, Now,
I think this is a smart strategy for both sides. if you're Lamar, you're not taking a discount. Like, why take a discount? That doesn't make sense to take a discount if you think you can fetch that amount on the market. And if you're the Ravens, why give him that money if that doesn't align with your strategy? It's too much risk.
But Tim seems to think he's gonna become the face of bowling. He's in discussions with the PBA and $1 billion guaranteed, fully guaranteed money, $1 billion. Lamar Jackson, the face of bowling.
I like that he picks a sport where he just not much use of the legs.
Yeah.
Like all his juking and running, not super useful.
I learned this weekend that it's that you're not supposed to use your legs so much bowling. When I got mocked relentlessly for the use of my legs while bowling.
Really? In what way? What are you doing with your legs?
The thing with bowling is the way it's most fun is when you throw the ball as hard as you can. Like just as much like. So whenever you go up, on my very first roll, I got a little overzealous and I went back and I had so much forward momentum that I did like a little like leap in the air. Like it pulled my legs into the air, like kicked up behind me. And
that's hilarious.
You would have thought my pants had fallen down and I pooped on the floor and slipped in it with the level of mockery that I got from my girlfriend for that.
It's like when you overstep the line.
Exactly.
So did you guys know that there is a professional athlete that is also bowls at the PBA level?
I did know this. Who is it? What's their other sport? Is it football?
It's a baseball player. It's a baseball player, and he's bowled multiple perfect games, and he's competed in a PBA bowling tournament. It is Herb Bertlinger.
Nice. I knew this fun fact at one point, and it's escaping me.
It's Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts.
Betts. Yeah. Well, he's with the Dodgers now, which makes me very
Used to be with Boston.
But makes my Auntie Coop very happy. She's a Dodgers
the last time I played the show, he was on Boston.
Every couple of years, I look up at the TV and all the players are on different teams, and I'm just like, what the hell happened?
Yeah. So this is how good he is at bowling. He's bowled at least 5 300s, and in 2019, he actually won a legitimate sanctioned PBA event, professional bowling.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. So he's actually nasty at bowling. So look out, Lamar. I don't know if they're handing out $1 billion to somebody, it should probably be Mookie Betts, but I mean, I've never seen Lamar bowl, so I don't know.
Could be amazing.
Could be him.
Could be
another big quarterback splash yesterday. Daniel Jones got the long-term contract last minute.
Yeah, he did.
Last minute.
Awesome.
I know a lot of people were surprised with how this all kind of proceeded. How do you guys feel about this move? Did the Giants do well here, or is this a mistake?
The more I think about it, is that like Brian, I think personally, I wouldn't have done it. The guy, just the last 3 seasons, he's thrown 10, 11, and 15 touchdown passes, right? I need to see the full details of the contract and when they could potentially get out of it. If he's locked in for the full 4 years, I think that's a really risky move by, Joe Schoen and the GM and Brian Dable, in that when you do these long-term deals in these situations, if things go bad, inevitably they basically decide, do we get rid of the coach or do we get rid of the quarterback? And if you're setting up this long-term deal and there's no way to get rid of Daniel Jones, they might just say, hey, you know what? You blew it. We got to make some changes here, and we can't change the quarterback, so we're changing the coach. If you set it up where you give yourself a try and it doesn't work, within 2 years you get out of the contract, then these guys can just be like, all right, you know what? We gave that a try. Now you give us a chance to try something else, right? So, it's a risky area. We saw it with like Matt Nagy and Mitch Trubisky, where, it didn't work building that offense for the long term, and they both ended up losing their jobs. So Brian Dable's got to sit there and say, is this guy really that good? Or maybe am I just a good coach, and that's why the offense did so well, and it would do even better with a different quarterback. That's how I look at it. It has me a little concerned long term, but they were able to keep Daniel Jones. They were able to franchise tag Saquon Barkley because of that. So the fans that like those guys have to be pretty pumped, right? What's the you hearing anything from the your folks with boots on the ground over there, Maria and Professor? Sorry, the professor. What's his name in the chat?
Professor Microanalysis.
I wanted to force you to guess.
I was about to guess, yeah, but Professor Microanalysis.
Professor super analysis guy.
super scientist. What do they think? How are they feeling about it? Do they like it? Do they like Daniel Jones?
I think that they are stereotypical Giants fans.
Yeah.
In that they are hopeful. It's like a mix of optimism and pessimism that's just mixed together and like cloaked. I feel like that I get from this like vibe I get from Giants fans a lot. I think a lot of, at least Maria and Ed, I think are on the camp of Daniel Jones is decent, but not amazing.
I think
Yeah.
the
Said,
Giants
yes, maybe.
GM, whoever's making these decisions needs to remember the phrase scared money don't make money, because I think this is some scared money going Daniel Jones' way. This is, I don't know if we can do better. Like, he's not the best. He's not that upper tier. He's not Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. He's not one of these guys. He's not Kyler Murray. He's not on that level. But he's better than Nick Foles. He's better than Case Keenum. He's better than Carson Wentz. I think they're scared. I think this is good enough for them to keep their jobs, to be a competitive team. They made the playoffs this year. And if they're making the playoffs pretty consistently after what the past 5 years have been, the jobs are safe for now.
It's definitely a safe play. I think it's a really good call out, Simon, because it's a safe play. Even if it's not, I don't know if it's them being scared or them intentionally taking the safer play because they're taking risk elsewhere, but it feels overly safe.
Agreed.
That was my thought process when I first heard the details of the contract. Simon was like, this is, I don't know. If I were you, I might have just taken the bet to see who I could get in the draft or in free agency.
Right. Because, like, I mean, either way, I think Brian Dable, like, having such a good first year buys you some time. So either way, he would be able to draft a QB, and if that fails, get one more shot with another QB, or sign Daniel Jones. And if that fails, he'll get another shot. Like, I think after this first year, unless things go catastrophically wrong in the second year, he's kind of earned that. So I think for him, it's pretty safe. It's just like now Daniel Jones is a top 10 quarterback. He's like, I think that's he's the ninth player to get a $40+ million deal, which to me, when I'm making a top 10 quarterback list, Daniel Jones ain't anywhere near it. He just isn't. He just isn't, dude. He just isn't. Whether you factor age in it or not, he's just not. I mean, if you make a list
that
of
has nothing to do with
10,
the fact that you're in Florida and he's in New York, right? It's like
he's nowhere near this list.
Right, yeah. Top 10 quarterbacks close to me. Like, you got to
Good
go
luck getting
with
close.
CJ Bettor just got
Brady.
CJ Bettor just got re-signed to the Jags, so he's pretty.
Blaine
close
Gabbert's kind of close to that list, though.
Blaine Gabbert's in the neighborhood. He's in the area.
Wah, wah.
Eddie in the chat says dark horse candidate emerging for Lamar, Houston Texans.
Ooh,
Oh,
that'd be spicy.
I'm gonna have that reaction to every team.
Oh, God.
It's funny that everybody was talking about how Tyler Algier and Dameon Pierce were going to get vaporized somehow, and then it turns out that now them getting vaporized by Lamar Jackson is also on the table. Like, those assets just keep becoming scarier and scarier.
Dameon Pierce and Tyler Algier.
They're just like day 3 running backs, and everyone's like, they could draft a running back, and now they could bring in Lamar. It's just, I'm selling. I'm out.
They could draft a running back and bring in Lamar.
That would be dope. Yeah, they would imagine just immediately turning those guys into Devin Singletary overnight by drafting a pass catching back and adding a quarterback that just dunks it from the 5-yard line every time.
Arthur Smith just walks through, goes bippity boppity boo, turns him into Devin Singletary at the end. He's like fairy godmother running through, like with the draft pick.
If there's one owner who does that, it's Arthur.
Arthur Blanks. I said Arthur Smith, the coach. Arthur Blanks. They got too many Arthurs over there. Oh God, like, Arthur Blanks dressed as the fairy godmother is terrifying.
Arthur Blank does look like Walt Disney, though, doesn't he?
That's what I'm saying. Like that. If there's one owner to do it, it's him or
he does look like
one of those two guys. One of those two guys can turn any player into another player.
Yeah, Khan definitely. Shere Khan from the Jungle Book. I don't know, man. Imagine the Falcons. Imagine if the Falcons go out and imagine the Falcons get Lamar, and then they draft like Darnell Washington, and it's just like Lamar Jackson running behind the 6'4" Kyle Pitts. Sorry, the 6'4" Drake London, the 6'6" Kyle Pitts, and the 6'5" Darnell Washington. That'd be such a goon squad. I would love that. Right?
Joey in the chat saying Lamar don't scare me. Cream rises to the top, and Damian Pierce is full of cream.
Disgusting.
Oh, cream, dude.
Disgusting
He's a
phrasing,
creepy
Joey.
boy.
Shark
Yesterday,
Baka. Oh, Shark Baka in the chat said Ravens are planning to do a non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar. The Falcons might get Lamar though.
yeah, I like Lamar to the Falcons. If he has to leave, that's where I want him. I prefer him to stay in Baltimore. Like JL,
Much better than the Texans, that's for sure.
God, the Texans would just be miserable.
Jacob Sanderson had a good tweet on that. He was like, the Falcons have $66 million. I would just sign Lamar to the most toxic offer sheet ever. That's what he said, which is like, they could just be like, all right, year one, we're going to give him $66 million guaranteed. And then the Ravens look at that contract and they're like, I'm not sure we can match that. Like, you can't do that with these contracts.
I can't recall who it was, but I saw someone wrote about this a couple of days ago. That there's a theory that Dan Snyder could, as a move that's just like a pure middle finger to the league on his way out, sign Lamar to a guaranteed contract in Washington because he wouldn't be on the hook for that money.
Why not?
And it would just be a giant middle finger to just reset again the QB market, add precedent to this fully guaranteed contract thing, and be a giant FU to all the owners
just tank
who are pushing him out. That's kind of something there.
Jerry would kill him.
That's like that
Jerry Jones would show up on his front door and be like, "Oh, hey Dan, I thought we had a little agreement here, didn't we?"
You can't kill what's not alive.
That's like that dude in your dynasty league that just trades away all his picks and then he's like, "I'm out.
I'm leaving." Yeah.
So, yeah.
But if Dan Snyder was in your dynasty league, you're telling me he wouldn't be that guy?
He would 100% be that guy, dude.
And
he would definitely be the guy that never pays his dues but then when he actually wins the league, he just immediately is texting. He's like, "When am I getting paid? You can just take out all the money I owe from what you're paying, by the way."
You can just take out my last 4 years dues from this year's bot. Should be fine.
It's like he wins the league and he still owes like $150.
Beautiful. Speaking of winning leagues, I saw a video yesterday that I wanted to bring up for you guys. It was this all-girls fantasy football league in Kentucky that they put together. And what they set as the punishment for last place was you had to enter a local county level pageant and give it your best shot in earnest. So whoever came in last had to do it. So the video was like them going like they're freaking out like, "Oh my God, Claire has to enter a pageant." They go to Cumberland Lake in Kentucky, the Miss Cumberland Lake pageant. And she freaking wins. She won the whole thing. First place, crown on her head. She's going to state.
Yes, let's go. She's going to state. Wow. Doesn't even have to.
That's the best part, isn't it? Right? Not only did she win, but like, what if she's Miss Kentucky? Like, she's got a shot.
What if this changes her life? What if she starts pursuing this?
I love that, dude. That's awesome. We should make that, and we should make that the penalty in one of our leagues. Man.
Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. I think I'll win if I accidentally get up on that stage.
I just tank on purpose. I'm the prettiest girl at the ball.
I don't think they'll let you out for the second portion of that competition, Coop.
Dude, you have a beard.
The bikini portion.
Yeah, I think they'd cut you off before that. But
I honestly think they would let me do it. Oh, sorry. Did you say it was Kentucky?
Yeah.
Maybe not in Kentucky, but there are some states that would probably let me go through.
Maria said that would be Tim. He'd win 100%. Yeah.
Tim's a good-looking fella.
How's that pen taste?
Tim's a pretty lady.
Did you guys see Tom Brady's response to the accusations that he's going to come back to the NFL? He's tired of hearing people talk about it. He came out and said, anyone who thinks I have time to come back to the NFL has never adopted a 2-month-old kitten for their daughter. He's getting personal now, little Tom.
Yeah.
He's like for their daughter. He add that in. You can't buy a kitten, Tom? It's got to be for your daughter?
It's for their daughter.
I said that to hanging out with my family yesterday. My mom was just like, "How hard is it to raise a kid?" You just should like
That's a
cats.
multi-millionaire.
Yeah, you just kind of let them do their thing. You know what I mean? Like cats are. I don't think it's that hard, is it?
No, I mean, it seems probably easier than dogs. They seem a little bit more self-sufficient.
Way easier, dude. A cat is like a Roomba, dude. You just like set those things on autopilot, right? And then you just put a litter box out, and then
You don't even have to
that's
feed
it.
them.
I don't know. Got enough mice. Maybe that takes care of itself.
I took care of a cat.
Clearly, I don't have a cat.
I took care of a cat for like
I don't
3
know.
weeks once. It was outside. I just put cans of cat food on the front porch and it would come eat it. And then one day it left.
But the
Really didn't take up too much of my
raccoons
life.
were fun.
I had plenty of time to play in the NFL. That cat added nothing to my day,
Yeah, I
but
don't
joy
think
and
that,
happiness.
I don't think that tweet rules out him coming back.
You think it's maybe a little defensive? Like, I'm not coming back. I got a kitten. What do you expect me to do? I have a kitten at home. He's like, okay, I guess someone can watch the kitten. Yeah.
I guess I'll come back.
I guess I'll come back.
Yeah. Did you see the posturing by Sauce Gardner trying to get Aaron Rodgers over there?
Did he posture
no.
like a jet?
He tweeted, he's like, this is how we do it here. No, he tweeted Aaron Rodgers. He said, hey, Aaron Rodgers, I promise if you become a Jet, I won't pick you off in practice and I'll burn the cheese head. Not sure if you remember, but
I remember.
Yeah, it was pretty funny when they were playing the Packers. He picked them off, and then he somehow got his hands on one of those cheese heads from the fans and was wearing it around. So seems like a pretty good deal.
He had the biggest, goofiest grin on his face too while he was running
love
around
that.
with that cheese head on. Oh, I'm gonna go watch that video right after this show.
It's good, dude. It's good. So
Hal said, what if he
Yeah.
wants to be a performance cat? Then he can. Then he
I
can.
thought that
You
said
do you,
perform-
Tom.
I thought this said performative cat the first time I read it, which is just ever so slightly different. Like it just changes the picture in my
Oh.
mind from a
Yeah.
performance
Makes it a
cat
little-
screams like athletic. Like this cat was built for peak performance. Meows like nobody's business.
built for tough.
But like the performative cat is like laying like this on a velvet sofa. Like hello.
Is it
Me-
me?
meow.
Meow.
Dustin said he is also talking about Tom Brady. Is also talking about the daughter who lives in Miami. So you never know.
Ooh, that's the old. Oh, I forgot my cat here move. I guess I'll just stay and play some football.
I hope he does that.
Whoops, forgot my cat there. Guess I got to go back. Oh, where'd this helmet go from?
You guys think Tom Brady comes out of retirement ever?
No.
No.
He already
Maybe.
did. He already did once. I think he's done.
Yeah, I think that's the end of it.
Yeah, he's got plenty of money, plenty of moolah.
Plenty of
report-
moolah.
I saw a report yesterday from NFL beat writers coming out saying that when they were asking about Matthew Stafford, they were told the guy could barely throw last year. Retirement is still not out of the question. So we were talking a bit about this earlier this week or last week. Time is a flat circle. I don't remember anything in relation to other days anymore. But we were talking about Matthew Stafford at some point. Is he going to retire? Is he still coming back? And I feel like I was the most pessimistic about him, that potentially he could still be out. But this is coming out saying like maybe that's still on the table. Do you guys buy into this? Or do you think we would have heard something by now?
What do you think, Joe?
It's a good question that I entirely forgot to listen to.
Yeah, I guess it too.
Oh, cool. Well, then I'll give my answer. I think this could happen. Here, how about let's play a game where I give my answer without saying the word, and you guys try to guess what the question.
What the question was? Yeah, that's
Kind of like what do you
I truly have no idea.
So
this
we
is
talked
fun.
about this player, whether they were going to retire or not, a little while ago. I think you guys seem to think absolutely not. Like, what would they do at quarterback otherwise? But this is a team that's on the decline.
Oh, I
And
remember
this
now.
Player
Mm.
is was injured all last season. Is a little bit older. Just won a Super Bowl, so like they got their career for them.
Oh,
But
okay.
I think they could retire. I'm buying into this.
I got it.
Stafford. Now I remember.
It's Stafford.
I just had an immediate brain fart where everything left my head when you
Right.
asked me.
So Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He came out and said he was coming back, so I don't know why he would do that if he not only did he say it to the team, but he said it publicly. So at this point, I feel like he would have to be ruled out due to injury to not come back. I think he's coming back.
You think he's coming back, Joe? You in line with Coop here?
I also think he's coming back. I think there's the performance from the Rams this past season has left a lot of holes to be filled, for lack of a better way to say, where people are kind of filling in the lack of news that we're getting out of the Rams franchise. I think it's most likely Matthew Stafford plays, but I'm not going to say it's crazy prop. Like I would say it's close to guaranteed.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is we're hearing all these rumors about them selling off players on the team. So Stafford's going to come back and have this team he had last year, except worse. Like, there's rumors that they're going to trade Jalen Ramsey, and there's rumors they're going to trade Allen Robinson. Like, I mean, if they do all those moves, I mean, I guess he did throw it to Cooper Kupp a zillion times. That's how they won last time. But I don't know. It's hard to be optimistic about him coming back to a team that's significantly worse than the team they had previously. Right? No Von Miller now. No, they're like missing a lot of the key pieces they had on those teams. Bobby Wagner, they already let Bobby Wagner leave, right? That doesn't really sound like a team that thinks they're competing this year.
No, I don't think they think they're competing this year either. But that doesn't, like, I agree with you. That's evidence in the Matthew Stafford is retiring camp, but like it's not enough on its own. And I'm in the, like, I think it's probably more likely that he does retire at some point before the season. But man, it's just a hard argument to make with that as the reason, because of why didn't he stop whenever he got injured this year? Like, that's the direction they were clearly going.
I mean, personally speaking, for $27 million, my arm better be on the ground. I better be looking over at my arm on the ground over there for me to not play this year, right?
That is the best argument that I see for Aaron Rodgers as well. Is like, what is it, like 56 million or something like that he gets if he plays this year? Yeah, I'd not retire for $50+ million as well.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I'm playing. I don't care if we come in dead last, dude.
Okay, something we did. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead.
It was completely changing the topic. So if you want to throw this out there, get it in now, and then we'll go.
It was a joke, so now to add it in would certainly not work. So.
No, you know what the best part is whenever someone keeps demanding that you tell the joke that they missed.
Oh my god,
over and over
Maria does that to me all the time, or she'll do it to like she'll be like, oh, tell him that joke, or like say that thing that you said again. I'm like,
but say it just as funny.
Okay.
Say it just as funny.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially when it's something where you need to give the whole backstory for the joke.
Yeah.
So it's like, here, let me tell you this story, and then to put you into
you didn't ask
context. For. Right. Yeah. All right. So tell us a joke.
I was going to bring something else up, though, that I forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about the contract talks with Lamar Jackson and the whole thing around the league, like the NFLPA's concerns about league owners not wanting to put money fully guaranteed in these contracts. The NFL has a unique rule for fully guaranteed contracts that other leagues don't have. Do you guys know about this?
No.
They require, upon a fully guaranteed contract being signed, for the entirety of that contract to be put into escrow immediately. You have to have, it's to avoid players not getting defaulted upon by teams. So whenever the Browns signed Deshaun Watson to a $230 million contract, they have to put $230 million that day into escrow available for Deshaun Watson. No other league has this.
Pretty tight.
And no other league has it. You say it's pretty tight, but it also highly incentivizes the owners not to do those kind of deals, because I think we misunderstand wealth sometimes. Yes, these are billionaires that own the team. Most of them don't have $230 million of liquid cash available to throw into an escrow account right now, right? It is not as simple as like, oh, he's a billionaire, he's got 230 billion or million in the bank account. Right? Like, that's not how it works. So it makes it like sometimes just not doable for some of these owners. Like, they may truly be unable to afford in liquid cash Lamar Jackson, since the NFL requires you to put all of that money directly into escrow.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Simon. And I feel like that highlights the feelings I've been having when I keep seeing everybody kind of freak out about the situation and just like fully blame the franchises. And I'm not sitting here being like pro franchise or pro billionaire here, because I do think that it's in the player's best interest to pursue the highest contract they can. And so just looking at it from a game theory perspective, it makes sense why they're doing what they're doing. And it feels like everybody's kind of just getting caught up on the wrong things.
Right. And I think people forget the situations where it went poorly. Everyone always thinks about like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. They forget about like the Cam Newtons, who was an MVP one year and then a couple of years later couldn't get anyone to pay him $1 million, right? So you got to get it while you can in this league. Like people bash on Le'Veon Bell for skipping the season and not playing on the franchise tag, and then after that, his career went downhill pretty quickly. But he got like $27 million guaranteed from the Jets, right? Yeah. So like he got paid. He has enough money like to easily retire, and if he manages it correctly, like his kids will never have to work, So did it hurt his statistics? Sure, but he probably got more money than he would have. He got more money than he would have got from the Steelers, and who knows how long he would have played if he just stayed with the Steelers. So it is a tough balance,
Also, Hallen here making a great point. This rule is probably antiquated as well. The teams make so much money, the players would never be able to default. They're like, even if the owner didn't have the money, and the league would make sure these players didn't get defaulted upon. So it does seem like maybe a bit of an archaic rule here as well.
Yeah. But you never know. Some of these things could go horribly wrong for the other businesses that these guys own. Like, the Browns owner he owns this thing called Flying Pilot J, which is like a bunch of truck stops. And like at one point there was this huge lawsuit against him. Like those things can, there are things outside of owning the team that can be problematic where, or like, let's say the Washington, they do these massive deals and then they force Snyder to sell. And he says, oh yeah, we're not honoring that deal. It's like, so maybe not. There's got to be some portion of it, I think, that you have a way to ensure it gets paid. But you're right. It's hard to come up with that much liquid cash on the spot to do these deals.
And other leagues don't have it. Like
it's probably a balance
just don't have
somewhere.
Yeah. You guys want to get into some Weddle? See if we can keep our streak going. The Weddle game. For those of you who have not played this with us before, you can go to weddlegame.com. It's just like Wordle, but instead of guessing words, we're guessing NFL players. And every guess will give us a little bit of information about that player. And guys, I've been using these Would You Rathers as my notepad because look, they come with nice little lined paper on the back. And I'm going to read this one to you because I thought this was one of the more ridiculous ones and I pulled it out yesterday. Would you rather be a spy and have no friends or hold an office job and have lots of friends?
That is the question, right? Like
easy office job for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would never want to be a spy. I don't know why. I don't know why that's appealing to anybody.
It's a double negative.
It seems pretty stressful, right?
Yeah. I'll take all this risk for virtually no reward.
Yeah, it's not like you could even be like, oh yeah, dude, and that's when I jumped the motorcycle off the roof. Like you have no friends, so you have no one to even tell the stories to.
You're just talking to your cat.
No one probably knows.
Right, no one even knows.
Probably just erased from existence.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I picked the first player yesterday, Jill. I believe it's your turn because Coop went stone smart the day before that. Who are we starting with today?
Tommy in the chat picking spy. Yeah, Tommy. I feel like Tommy might already be a spy.
If he is, he's a very bad spy. He should not be spending so much time in here. He should be doing spy stuff, I feel like.
That's his cover, though.
Like, I feel like it's pretty important to keep up on all the spy stuff when you're a spy.
He's got one hand. He's like right now riding like a black motorcycle, like in pursuit of a bad guy. But with his right hand, he's sending messages here as cover. Pretty smart.
So who are we going with first? Who's our first guess?
You're the first guesser.
And I'm asking you guys, help me pick. I don't know.
Pick T. Higgins.
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins.
One of these days it's gonna work.
This one we got like no information here. Team
good
wrong.
Good pick,
position wrong. Position
Nailed it.
wrong. Height they are much shorter than 6'4", but the age is barely higher than 24. So 25 or 26, and then the number is way lower than 85.
So the age is the vast majority of the league, which is good. That helps us. Good pick,
So-
JL.
NFC.
NFC. Do you want to go running back, tight end, or quarterback?
Go running back because there's more running backs in the league than there are tight ends and quarterbacks. I feel like.
Well, and height-wise, this player has to be 6'2" or shorter. So best odds are running back. Next best odds are quarterback. Least best odds are tight end.
Bingo.
So what about Saquon Barkley? Is he 27 yet?
Wasn't it him the other day?
It was him the other day. He's 26. He's not 27 though. Was it him the other day?
Devin Singletary.
He's in the AFC. Miles Sanders. He's
Good point.
25.
Yeah, Miles Sanders could be correct.
Let's
You want to go with him?
Miles.
Let's go with him.
Yeah, let's get him in there. Get him in there.
Slime Sanders. Okay, we got a lot of information there. The NFC East is incorrect, but it is in the NFC. They are running back. They are 5'11". Their age is 25. Their number is much higher than 26.
Ooh,
They're not in the NFC.
That's interesting because a lot of RBs have lower numbers.
Jarek McKinnon has a low number and he's too old. I'm trying to think of running backs that are the right age. Let's look in the West. Rashad Penny, is he 25?
David Montgomery.
David Montgomery is 25.
Is 13 is his number? No. What is David Montgomery's number?
He seems like a low number guy. This almost seems like a weird running back, like not like someone who maybe is more of a receiving back.
Madison.
In the NFC, yeah, it could be there's a lot of different teams over there.
Madison, is he too old? He seems old.
So he's too young. He's young.
too young.
He's wicked young. He's only 24. I swear to God. Alexander Madison came in the league wicked young. He's going to be a free
wicked smart.
He's wicked smart guy.
Chuba Hubbard.
Chuby's too young, I think.
Too young, yeah. He's not 25.
Yeah.
Deonta Foreman.
Let's
Too old.
guess. Let's
He's
guess
not
some
25.
people. How about
25-year-old running back. Could it be James Conner?
5'11". He's too old, right?
James
pretty
Conner?
sure-
30. He's 30.
30?
I don't think
Is he
he's
really?
quite 30. I think he's like
You're
lying.
27. I'm pretty sure
No,
he's like
he's-
27.
Nah, he's 30, bro. He's 27. Okay. Well, let's get some guesses in there. How old
I've
is
named
DeAndre
about 40 backs. So someone named
How old is DeAndre
Swift. Swift. Yeah, let's go Swift.
David Montgomery. DeAndre
Swift.
Swift.
Okay, DeAndre Swift is 24. NFC North is correct. The number is
Oh, this is
correct,
David
32.
Montgomery. David Montgomery's 32
David
now.
Montgomery
that I
is
think about it.
32. He
Yeah.
is. I almost said that before.
David Montgomery is
Damn.
absolutely correct. We got it in.
If I had trusted
what?
myself, we could have
Good
gotten it in
God.
like 2 or 3.
If you had gone with your sweetheart and so
Yeah. Damn it.
Trust
All
yourself,
right,
JL.
way to go.
Trust yourself. Guys, coming up, we've got some more games. We're going to pitch some ideas for you very shortly. Then we're going to draft college football schools, go over some wide receivers and freshman orientation today. And then our friend Moody from ESPN is joining us for some Feeling Lucky Punk. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Talk about your picks and your fantasy teams on Bettor Sports Network.
The importance of checking out the site that you're playing on. Default rankings of these sites. A lot of times they don't get updated. I know from experience. I used to write default rankings for the NFBKC, the basketball version of the NFBC. I'd write these default rankings in June for the NBA, before the NBA draft, before free agency opened up. And guess what? I was never asked to write an update article or update the default rankings. This happens a lot. Maybe if there's something obvious, it gets updated. Aaron Judge, for some reason, hurts his back. Maybe they make that change. Just maybe. But you don't know that. And that's why it's just so important that you show up to your draft room or you do that pre-draft prep. We're all busy. We know we're about to devote a lot of time to our fantasy baseball drafts. Why not spend the extra 20 to 25 minutes to invest properly in your team, to go and see which of those players are way down default rankings? They're going to be different on all of these sites, and you're going to be looking at them and going, huh? Maybe their analysts think a certain player who shouldn't be in the top 100, who should be maybe even not even the top 200, will be in that top 100. You got to check that out. You got to know where you're playing, just like you got to know your format when you sign up for the league. It's just so crucial, and people just skip right over it. You think it's cool to show up to the draft room 3 minutes before the draft. Well, number one, it's not cool because the commissioner's trying to make sure it is organized, especially me, who runs auctions. You can't, it's one thing if someone doesn't show up for the snake draft. Oh, well, doesn't ruin it for everyone. Auctions, you can't have someone not show up. Auto bidding, auto auctioning, it ruins the sanctity of those drafts here, which is why I always recommend, hey, make it easy on your commissioner. Don't make them send those texts there. It's annoying. You shouldn't have to do that. Don't wait till the last minute and get in there about 20, 25 minutes before so you can just look up and down the entire default rankings list so you can make a queue out of that, Ron. And the reason I keep saying this is because people still show up 2, 3 minutes before the draft, and that's it. In fact, in one of my auctions, people were asking me where certain players were, and I go, did you search their name? No, I just got in. Well, that's no excuse right there. That's your own fault. I mean, you're organized, so you're a hard person to ask here.
You're getting those questions. This is your preschool league, right? People don't know how to search player names.
People freak out. They don't think. That's the problem. Because they show up 2 minutes before the draft. That's why.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show, a special nature edition. Do we still have a deer behind you right now?
I can't. Oh, just went out of screen.
We're just zooming in on your mouth instead.
There's a deer outside just like munching on the golf course right now. I don't know how to fix my zoom
choo on that golf course.
Yeah, just snacking, bro. I messed my camera up. Yeah, so pretty cool stuff going down here in Florida. Could have been a gator, instead it's a deer.
We sent JL out there to try to catch the deer, bring it on the show so we can interview it a little bit about what it's having for breakfast. We are breakfast connoisseurs over here, BYOB every single day. So we'll see if he comes back with that deer, but hopefully it doesn't take him too long.
Yeah, that deer brought his breakfast. That's actually how they mow this course. That's actually how they mow this course. They don't have lawnmowers. It's just deer. They just send the squad out.
So that guy who's just been driving around behind you for the last 3 days, Coop, is just like a hobbyist. He just likes to mow for fun.
He's kind of like a herder, those sheepdogs. He kind of just drives around and keeps the deer going in the right direction
on his mower.
There's actually no blades in it. It's just how he prefers to drive around.
He just really likes that vehicle.
There's a TikTok account of a company that has a herd of goats they put in a truck and they'll bring to overgrown properties. You can hire them. And they just release the goats, and it takes a couple days, but the goats work their way through eating everything in the yard. And it is so funny to watch the progression videos of just full overgrown kudzu yard and 50 goats. And then slowly over the course of 3 days, it becomes perfect. Those goats
with fat 50 goats.
Oh my God. And the goats are so they're talking to each other can you freaking believe the job we got?
Just imagine they did a time lapse montage or whatever, and you just progress. You see the lawn just slowly get smaller, and then the sheep or the goats get bigger.
At the end, it's just 50 goats laying on their backs with their big old bellies and 4 legs in the air.
They're just so round that their legs no longer touch.
That's the goats version of the NFL. That's the goat dream job. All the other goats are just
oh man, can you believe it? Billy made it. Billy made it.
Billy's such a classic goat name.
I went to high school with Billy.
Well, guys, we are about to get into a segment we call Here's the Pitch. And I bet the person who came up with the Goat Grass Company pitched that idea in a very similar segment to this on his 3-hour morning show talking about football. But we are going to pitch ideas we have for products, companies, movies, TV shows, and get the other two's opinion on them. Kind of flesh these out a little bit. I have one, if you will allow me to go first.
Please.
This is something I've always wanted. Joe, you've probably heard me bring this up before. But in a house, a room that I think should exist is a bedroom, not a bedroom. Right now we call it a bedroom, but there's so much other stuff in there. You know what I mean? There's a couch,
Non-bed
there's a
stuff,
dresser, there's a closet, there's a lamp, there's all this stuff that isn't bed.
Yeah.
I want you to have your bedroom that you walk into, but then within your bedroom, you open a door that might look like a closet, but inside, sunk into the floor, so you walk directly onto it, is a mattress. The size of the room is exactly king-size mattress sized. This mattress is dropped into a hole in the floor, or a depth, a lowered floor that is like a step down that is the exact thickness of a mattress, so that as you go in here, it is nothing but bed. That's it. There's a shelf that comes off the wall that you can put your stuff on with the plugs already on there, and your whole room is bed. You can roll any direction.
Simon, you had me up until the point that you said it's the size of a king size bed, because what I was imagining was a normal sized room with all bed, which I'm totally down for. What you described sounds way more like a coffin, and sounds like I'd get really claustrophobic in there if I was in a room that's only the size of a king bed.
Okay,
mine
I would want to be mine. I would want to be the size of a king bed, but I'm sure if this room exists, I'm inventing the room. You could get a bigger mattress. You just got to find someone who's going to make you a mattress that big.
If you just put a sink and a toilet in that same room, you basically have Keith's apartment in New York. It's a studio. It sounds like you described a studio apartment with a large bed.
The toilet would have to be, in the way I've described it, though, mounted up, and you would have to climb onto it.
Like a ladder on the wall.
Yeah, there's a ladder, and then your feet
your legs bang. Yes.
It's a studio.
Your college roommates with Tim, and you just look up. Tim's up in the ceiling, kicking his legs, taking a shit.
Like a lifeguard chair. It's a studio.
He's got a whistle.
A New York studio apartment with a mezzanine toilet.
I'm laying on my back on the other side of the room. And Tim's up there pooping, and we're just throwing a tennis ball back and forth. He's up there swinging his legs, and I'm like, "So what are you doing?"
Swinging his legs. Yeah. What you thinking about? So who does everybody like?
Oh, that's a stinker.
Yeah, that sounds pretty terrible.
I started with like a luxury room that would go into a house, and ended with the ultimate efficiency apartment.
The ultimate like playground apartment too. Now the moment you put a toilet up on the wall that you can climb up to, you've all of a sudden unlocked an entirely different dimension to your room. You could have like a freaking hamster track for humans just going around the room.
The real estate agent's just like, now here are the his and hers mezzanine toilets. If you look up here.
Man, it's funny you mentioned the leg kicking thing the other day, JL, because I never think about that. Like, it's not something I think about. But the other day I was at Kava picking up lunch, and there was this old lady, like one of the oldest women I've ever seen. like had to be minimum 140. Sitting by herself at Kava with her a pita bigger than she was, because she was strong at this point. Just freaking kicking her legs because she was so little. Her legs didn't touch the ground, and she's just sitting there kicking her legs back and forth, smiling so big. And I was thinking, like, man, I don't kick my legs very often. Like, she looks so happy there with her feet on. I very rarely do I sit in a chair where I get to kick my legs. So
when you kick your legs, your head just automatically does this thing.
Exactly.
Like, you just
Now I know what I will be thinking about the rest of the day.
Every time I go to a toilet and I don't climb a ladder first, I'm going to be so disappointed.
That's such a good idea. We basically had like 3 different pitches come out of this pitch.
That's a good pitch. This is a brainstorming
all really, really smart ideas.
Bedroom, wall, toilet, hamster, path for humans.
Tim.
Right. Tim. Tim comes with every bedroom.
Oh, well, I guess I'll go next with my pitch here. My next pitch, this one actually is not my own, but I'm going to steal it. It's part of my list that I keep a running list with Maria's dad, Dr. Microanalysis, for years now, of just random invention ideas that came to our head. This one is one of my favorites. It's casket TVs. It's a TV you purchase for your casket. For your loved one, they want to watch TV. You want to play football? Man, when I go, you guys better get me some Red Zone. Put it in my coffin. Line that bad boy up so that your loved one's never alone anymore. They can always
Joe,
watch some TV.
What we're gonna do for you is we're gonna get Tony Romo to film a special 7-hour version of Red Zone and play that in your coffin after you got absolutely roasted for even suggesting that as a possibility on Twitter this season. Just obliterated.
About that.
We're gonna create that for you and put it in your coffin.
This was his last wish. Now, who's paying for the electricity on that? Is that part of the deal that like it seems like a very long-term agreement that you're signing?
I got Nikola Tesla was reincarnated and has made AC current publicly available throughout the entirety of the United States. So there is electricity in the air, just going through. There's giant Tesla coils everywhere, and you can just power your devices through the AC current flowing through the air. I'm an electrical engineer. Trust me, it works.
That's how it works, yeah.
Thomas Edison would definitely come back to life and steal that idea from him and shut it down.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, then we'll just make the family pay.
Okay, there we go.
You got to be.
When all else fails, just make the family pay more. But Jail, I like this idea because, like, I don't know, like I don't want to sound rude. My dog has no idea what's on the TV, but I still put it on for him. Know what I mean? Like I still turn it on for my dog. I'm not even sure he knows that it exists. Like it just sometimes there's just a completely vacant expression in his eyes, and I still do it. You're telling me that like when I pass, like
Sancho.
That's gonna be the same vacant expression in my eyes as Sancho has whenever there's like House Hunters International on the TV. You can throw something in there for me. Maybe some BoJack Horseman. That's sad. And I'll be dead.
You can do it depending on the mood, so you can control it remotely. If you want to like No, not you. I'm the dead one in this scenario.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But if
So
you
I'll
die,
have
then
a
I can
remote. control
it. So I can I'll be like, you know what? Simon's in the House Hunters International mood. Or I could be like, ooh, Simon wants to do a group watch party on the new American Horror Story. Tim, come on, let's go do a watch party with Simon.
And we know that Simon's somewhere watching it as well. Sounds pretty horrifying.
Somewhere you would know the specific hole.
I know
was in.
specifically where they are. Yeah, it's not like they moved the
go?
coffin.
Somewhere out there.
Dude, and it just like, is there volume? Like, if other people are going to see their loved ones, and they just like, I feel like I can hear The Big Bang Theory somewhere around here.
There's
You
volume.
should just
There's
hear
a max.
muffled. And then it's
It's
just like,
so popular. There's like a cacophony of those sounds though in the cemetery because everybody's TV's
you
on.
just hear a laugh track. That would be terrifying. Like if you're sitting and all of a sudden you heard like muffled laughter from under the ground.
No. Oh
That's
no.
that's actually what I prefer instead. Just put a laugh machine or like a fart machine in there for
Or just
mine.
like a sound, like a speaker, a sound machine, so that you could just play like zombie sounds or something. Oh, that would freak someone out.
What would be the
Screaming
worst
sounds.
show to play underground?
The worst way?
The worst show to play on there, like for people walking by, if they were to hear little bits and pieces of it.
The Masked Singer.
They would never be able
Is
to figure
that
out
Rudy
what
Giuliani in the ground?
double masked.
Unmarked graves are kind of like the Masked Singer.
Yeah, I guess, except there's no reveal.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
If there is, there's a problem. Ooh, Jail. I don't mind that idea. It's you know what? I think it's
Casket
something
TVs.
that would do well. Like the idea of a casket in and of itself is a little bit bizarre to me already. That like
Yeah.
we demand an expensive box for our dead.
House
like,
ourselves in, yeah.
How much more ridiculous is putting a TV in there? Like it's within the
Yeah.
realm of normal.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
the normal that we see.
heck of an extension cord, but you get
You know,
it.
and TVs are cheap now, like relatively.
Yeah,
I feel
they're
like
all like the real business, like the real. They're like Michael Scott's plasma TV.
exactly.
I don't think the quality of TV is super important at that point.
You're getting that satellite. You also just see antennas sticking up out of the ground, like in front of every gravesite, or all the tombstones now have antennas to pick up the publicly broadcast channels.
Tim in the chat said something. I don't know when he said this, and I have no idea what it's referring to. It's just he said most of their cash is paper, which is different from liquid entirely.
That's when we were talking about the billionaire owners having to put it all in escrow.
Oh, okay.
You're not wrong.
I just liked it out of context.
Once again,
got-
Tim, not wrong.
We got Albert in the chat. Said good morning, everyone. Good morning, Albert.
What up,
Morning,
Albert?
What up, dude? Yeah. So I got my idea. I've been thinking about this one as of late. I'm not sure if it's a real thing or there'd probably be some hoops you have to jump through to make it happen. But I'm thinking of an Uber type app for food. And now you guys might say, well, they have that already. That's Uber Eats. This would not be Uber Eats. Uber Eats is an app where you go in and you order food from somewhere and then they bring it to you. This one would be like a food sharing service that works like in the reverse of that. So let's say like
You
I'm at
cook
my
for
house.
the restaurants?
You cook, well, not for the restaurants, but like let's say at my house I'm like, I want lasagna tonight, but like I don't know how to make a small portion of lasagna for one person. So I go into this food app and I put in there, hey, I'm making lasagna tonight, and then everybody
The
out there,
Airbnb. You're talking about like an
Airbnb of
Airbnb
food,
of
yeah.
food. Okay,
So
I see what you're saying.
people are scrolling through, and I'm like, oh, they're like, oh, okay, like, you know, JL is making sketty tonight, and he's charging $5, and Coop's making lasagna, he's charging $6, and you know, Simon's making burgers tonight, and he's charging, you know, $3, and then like I go through, and I'm like, okay, I picked this one, and I can, you know, you have different options on there, like if I am feeling friendly, maybe I have an option where you come over and sit at the table, and we'll have dinner together. Or if I'm not in that mood, you just come by and you can pick up your portion and take it home and eat it at your house.
I'll leave it on the stoop.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, because there are certain things that, you know, I guess you could get like a little individual sized glass tin and make yourself one little lasagna, but it's better when you make it with the traditional recipe. So
You could even then like set a schedule, like in the app, like people could be like, oh, I wonder what Coop's making this week. And they could say like, on Wednesday,
Ooh.
Coop's making some tinga tacos. Maybe on Wednesday,
Meal prep?
right.
you could go in and like
Oh,
you could
no,
set
that's not right.
you could set your calendar, like what you're planning on. Maybe you don't do it, but
Meal plan.
I got
like
the whole
this
menu.
idea.
I got the whole menu out there, dude. Whole week, dude. Yeah, you could set.
I do kind of like this idea. I think like the underrated part of this is the social aspect.
Right?
You know, the
Come over and chill.
just the opportunity to have interaction that isn't just super transactional or like small talk with your neighbor is potentially interesting. But
It could
all
even
neighbors
be-
are pretty weird, so could be
If you
bad.
were-
It could turn out poorly too.
If we wanted to be real friendly with this app, I mean, us being the owners, we would obviously take a small portion of whatever's made, but we could also put in the option.
food. The food, of course.
Yeah, we could take a couple tips.
Part of the
We
agreement
take our
signups,
rake in food.
we can show up at any time when you post it and just grab a free meal.
And just grab like
Yeah.
a hot dog or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, obviously that's part of it. But we could also put in the option to list your food for free. Just be like, hey, I'm making lasagna tonight.
Pro
Anybody
bono.
Anybody wants to come over and hang out? Sign on up, dude. And then you have like a star rating too. Like if you're a jerk, then they click on your thing and they're like, oh, the lasagna looks good, but this person only has like a 1.5 star rating. You know,
Man,
Which
you
that-
could actually turn this into like an altruistic thing too, and like all of a sudden, like you could deputize all of these individuals to become almost like small scale food kitchens.
yeah. Although
But
now that
It's
I think
pretty
of it,
dangerous with all the there's no regulation. You're gonna have to fight a lot of that.
now that I think of it, the star rating thing could get pretty ugly. You just go to your neighbor's house and you're like, 1 star.
Lasagna was trash.
Lasagna was trash, dude. They didn't have any
Lasagna tastes like my ass.
there wasn't any toilet paper in the bathroom, right? You know, you start treating your neighbors like a restaurant.
There was no plunger in the bathroom.
Plus, I think you'd also probably you could.
They serve lasagna with no plunger present. What the hell kind of plan is
1
that?
star.
I clogged their toilet. They didn't have a plunger. 1 star for them.
I'm gonna go on Yelp later and start putting that in restaurants reviews.
Yeah.
Make sure you give a little detail, like lasagna created a healthy meaty poo. Unfortunately, they had no plunger to resolve said issue. If you're gonna create a situation, have the tools to fix it.
So you're like, oh, lasagna was amazing. So it just like melted in my mouth. No plunger in the bathroom though.
You also could get there could be some food safety regulations you might need.
That's
to
what I'm
work
saying.
through.
You're gonna have to get it over that because
But it's-
you get food poisoning from one of your neighbors. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, it's like you would like if I had told you 10 years ago that you could have an app where strangers are driving around, which is infinitely more dangerous than eating lasagna.
But you got to
right?
get a
Like,
driver's license and insurance. You don't have to do that to cook.
I know, but Coop said, which is infinitely more dangerous than eating lasagna. And you know what? I still, even getting in a stranger's car who's licensed and insured is more dangerous than eating a stranger's lasagna, I think.
100%.
Like if both, like an unlicensed lasagna is safer than
eating a
a
stranger's lasagna.
Oh, I'm gonna
100%
eat that
safer,
stranger's lasagna.
That's what I'm saying. And if this person is like poisoning
Slappy
people,
folds.
if this person is poisoning people with lasagna, they're not going to last very long because they're going to get so many negative bad star ratings. You can only get away
Oh,
with
that's gonna be so sad. Like Jerry down the street, Jerry a block over. No one comes, but he still posts every week.
You're only going to be able to murder people with lasagna at most 3 before people catch on.
Coop, whenever you brought up the star rating, though, I specifically use Lyft over Uber because Uber allows the driver to rate me. Not because I'm anything but polite. I am obnoxiously polite and kind in Ubers. And that's why I do it, because it hurts my feelings so bad when I see my rating go from like 4.89 to 4.88. Because I'm sitting there going like, that just means they didn't like me because I was nice. That just means as a person, I got in that car and they thought, not a 5-star person. And they gave me 4 stars. And so I get like, I take
as
it
we
personally.
know, the metric of how good you are is determined by the folks driving you
Your
around in the
Uber
car.
star
Your Uber
rating.
driver. Yeah. Your Uber driver is the best judge of character. So
I mean, the way people do treat like retail workers and restaurant staff, I think that is a good way to judge. I mean, it's probably a better way to judge people than credit score.
true.
So
Absolutely.
hey, tip your bartender, folks.
Tip
That's
your
all. That's all
bartender.
we're trying to say. That's all we're trying to say.
That's what this whole show's about. Dustin said, "Can I trade some of my burger for some of your pasta? I can save that pasta for lunch tomorrow."
Throw that in the
No.
app, dude.
Because I don't eat burger.
Throw that in the app, dude. We're trying to limit leftovers. We're trying to limit food waste here. That's going to be the other part of the message. The other part of the message is I'm trying to make a lot of money. That's a huge part of the app. So a lot of important parts.
It's a big reason why I'm doing this. I'm going to be
Big
honest.
reason why I'm doing this. Yeah, trying to be more green, and by green I mean green in my pocket.
Uh-oh, Simon's frozen. Thought he was just sitting there with a Derek Carr smile.
I thought you just said thought he was just chuffed with the idea. I picture him swinging his feet right now. Hopefully everyone can see what he's got going
He's
on.
definitely swinging his feet.
No
I feel
question.
like I've been swinging my feet too.
Dude, what's crazy is I am actually sitting at a high top table where my feet, I have them on something, but I could swing my feet.
I don't like having my feet swing. I don't like stools either.
Don't like it one bit.
Not one bit.
Not one bit. I like having
I got
them
another pitch.
firmly planted. Ooh, yes. Get in there.
So this next pitch, I don't think I pitched this one. I really should start keeping track because I'm gonna pull Simon here.
No idea.
I call it poop plotters.
I don't think you
This
said
one-
that one before.
You don't think so?
I
AI
feel like I might have
AI
remembered that.
enabled camera system on the outside of your house, the exterior, to track where dogs poop so you can identify them, don't step on them, pick it up if you need.
Wow, dude. That is
Uses computer vision to track, checks when your dog's in that poo position, and then marks it. Boom. You're good.
That's-
Never
dude,
step
that
in
would-
poo again.
that would also have the bonus of like letting you know if they're like coyotes and stuff coming in your yard. Dude,
Pooping.
Dude, pooping. Yeah.
It only identifies the poop
And
activity,
now-
but
So how's the map? Is it like can you just do like a printout of the map, or is it like on your
it's like an
computer?
app.
It's on
You
your
can print it
phone.
out, but you could look at the app of the site.
Oh, it's got the landmines on the phone, dude.
And
That's
then
pretty cool.
so that's V1, right? Just the cameras on the outside. V2 of this is we move it to AR. We go mobile, baby. Get some glasses.
Whoa.
You never step in and poo ever again. Everywhere
So
you
just-
go, you're gonna be able to like bink, bink,
At the park.
bink, bink,
At the park.
at the
It's got
park.
him, dude.
Oh man, you're running through the field at the park and you're not even worried. You're like overstepping, like it seems like you're running over obstacles. Really, you're just dodging the poos.
I mean, talk about quality of life, man. Because the thing is, like, when you step in a poo, just it really messes up the
Man,
day.
yeah, it
It makes me want to just throw those shoes away. It truly does.
You ever
when
barefooted
Simon
one?
skates a lot of Simon skates a lot of times. Throw away your foot.
I've barefooted 2 turds in my life, and it is disgusting. The feeling of warm dog shit between your toes is not one that I recommend very much.
It sounds like a Third Eye Blind lyric.
Don't fake gag because it does. Like on TikTok, these get me. I can't not laugh when someone is stuck in like a gagging cycle.
Oh, it's so gross. I can't even describe the texture of it to you.
Have you guys ever seen these TikToks?
Yes.
No.
It's like someone's wife will be like have like a really low threshold for what makes them do like a dry heave. And they just go and film while they mess them. They'll say stuff, and they're like, "No, stop, stop, please."
I can't watch those, dude. I can't do it.
Oh my god!
Did I miss any pitches, or were we just talking about stepping
You
in
missed
dog
my
poop?
poop plotter pitch, which is AI-powered cameras in your yard to track dog poops where they are, so that you don't step in them. You go pick them up.
That's phenomenal.
Now, how many dog poops is the acceptable
6?
amount to kind of allow? And then once you hit 6, you get them. So you're once a week, you scoop them all up.
You have 1 dog.
Depends on your threshold too. If you love playing in the yard, then you probably got to do it quicker.
Probably got to do it
more
Unless
frequently.
You love playing in the yard and you love playing in
barefoot.
poop.
Then you just let 'em-
Simon, is that what happened?
No.
Then you just let them ride.
I was gonna come up with some crazy excuse. No, I just haven't picked up dog poop in like a month. And the Texas sun usually turns it into nice little crispy turd jerky. But I stepped on it before. It was deep fried by the Texas heat.
If you had stepped on it after, I think your foot would have been cut off.
Oh, it would have just gone straight through. I would have then my foot would have been a shit kebab, just like straight through the middle.
So I think you had the preferable route here. Nick in the chat said, "I got a pitch. Temporary tattoos for your dog."
Great idea, dude. They got shoes on their dog.
Wait. Let's hear him out. He said, "They got shoes and everything for our dogs. We need matching tats."
The thing is that you can't put them on the hair. You would need to like shave your dog's head. And
I think you're thinking too. They're temporary, anyways. I think we stretch the name of tattoo to just mean like present design when you're not wearing clothes on that part of your body, and we figure out some way to apply it to the hair. Otherwise, now we're getting invasive. I'm not shaving my dog to give him a sick tat.
Wow. So like maybe like a little stencil that you just like spray on.
Dog fur safe spray paint with a stencil, and that's a dog tattoo.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
We just like bum rush all the Halloween stores for their hair dye.
It's just the in-can human hair spray paint, and we go around spraying dogs. It's a tattoo.
I wonder if your dog would know if you like changed your dog's color to like if you like change your dog to green, if they would even notice or care.
I have read online, because I've seen this where people post videos of their dog that they like dyed like a tiger or like a Pokemon. And people are like, this is cruel. And apparently I'll have to find it again. I went down a rabbit hole one time. There have been studies that it does not change the behavior of the dogs, domesticated dogs specifically, or the way other dogs interact with them. So if it's a dog that has familiarity and there's a mega change, they may be like, who are you? But they don't use sight as much to identify. Exactly. They don't use sight as much to identify each other as we do. So it's not a shock.
Yeah.
But other dogs look at it and be like, I don't like that. I guess they don't have very good vision, the cones in their eyes and stuff. So
we got Dustin Keith in the chat saying, I've seen those dog-friendly dye turn into Pikachu.
The dye turns into Pikachu, or the dog turns into Pikachu?
Both. Indeed. Both.
That's crazy.
Pretty cool.
Now said, what about clothes? Does that make them feel cool? Depends on the dog. Clothes do not make my dog feel cool. clothes, from based on what I've gathered from his interaction, make my dog feel like I'm literally trying to murder him. So not cool. My dog feels attacked and victimized every time I try to put a hat on him.
My dog just feels uncomfortable and judgy.
See, my dog seems to like when we put like the coat on. I think that she knows that when you put the coat goes on, we get to play in the snow, and my dog loves the snow.
Yeah, Rosie loves the snow too. We have a Clemson jersey that we put on Rosie sometimes during games. She loves it.
We got a Dustin battle going on in the chat. Dustin said to Dustin, "I'm not sure how I feel about there being another Dustin here."
Oh, dude, loser leaves Cam.
Dustin fight!
Oh, we got a bit of a dust up here.
One Dustin can reign supreme.
There can only be one. A bit of a dust up.
Don't say a bit of
This
a
is-
dust up.
This idea just came to me from what you just said, Simon. But we should do a wrestling league, like AEW, but for our chat instead of real wrestlers.
Oh, dude, that's Omega, bro. That's funny. Omega, I didn't even know your name was Dustin. I literally just know you. I talk to you every day, and I know you as Omega, only as Omega. That's so funny, dude.
What's up, Omega? That's better now. I can call you Omega. JL,
Yeah.
I think I missed some of the words you said, because in my mind, what I pictured was a wrestling rink with everyone from the chat physically in there fighting. That is not what you proposed, I'm assuming.
No, a wrestling league like AEW or WWE, but instead of wrestlers, it's people from the FYF chat.
Whoa.
Dame on the leaderboard, coming in from the top rope.
How about this? It's like
Scampers
Uber.
takes them out at the legs.
It's like Uber, except for you use it to find people to wrestle. So like, if you're in the mood to do a little wrestling, you put your like name and all your stats on the app, and then people can scroll through and be like,
Don't tell Andy Behrens that idea, Simon, because he will go wild if he knows that you have an app where you can find people to wrestle.
Fight Tinder. Like you swipe through. Yeah, I can take them. I can take them. Oh, no way.
You just keep swiping. Yeah, we'll call it the fight hole.
Fight hole.
The fight hole. The FYF Rumble. And Al said,
that
talks about fight hole.
So that app is one that you would probably run into some legal issues with as well.
Nah,
we should invent that app first, and then that way when we invent the food app, we would just be like, well, I mean, it's not like as bad as this fight hole app. Look at this app is like for fighting. This is like
3 people died from poisoned lasagna, but it's not fight hole.
It's not.
Should we really be talking about all the people, or the handful of people that died from food poisoning, or the hundreds of people that died from this fight hole app?
Better out in the chat saying we have now acquired FYFDustUp.com.
That's perfect. Good job.
Dust Up is coming, baby. I'm just imagining like the graphics now, like a video where like there's all this dust, and then as it settles, there's just like an FYF logo with Dame and Mr. Scampers crossing their arms, standing there by it, ready to go.
You feeling lucky, punk?
Feeling lucky.
Tim said, fight hole, make a night out of it, dinner and a show.
Yeah, you can do both, dude. A little dinner, a little fight.
Call in anytime.
Yo, we're gonna be rich between Lasagna Club and Fight Hole.
Oh man, we have so many good ideas.
The trick is to move the bar, move the needle and the goalpost with all these crazy, dangerous apps that then all the other apps that we have ideas for that are only kind of dangerous are working. Like base jumping app and things like that. And then we're like, well, at least it's not as dangerous as that. So we'll have to start thinking
let's be really safe in weird ways, like on the Fight Hole app, but we do not collect your data. You may get punched in the face by a stranger 47 times. You have people showing up at your house that just want to hurt you, but we're not going to sell your data.
We have no idea. We have no idea who that was.
Blockchain. It's a blockchain fighting app. It's blockchain fight Tinder.
Yeah.
Well, guys, now that we've invented blockchain fight Tinder and Coop came up with Poison Lasagna Club, we're going to head into a break, but we got some more coming up for you. We're going to draft college football schools, have an extension of freshman orientation. The wide receiver class is getting introduced today. Then play some Feeling Lucky Punk with our friend Moody. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
As a longtime baseball fan, here's my message to other baseball fans, to steal a line from the Packers' future Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. Everyone needs to relax after what we saw this past weekend as spring training games out in Arizona and down in Florida got going, and we're inching closer and closer to Major League Baseball opening day. The rule changes in Major League Baseball is not for myself. It's not for you out there, the hardened baseball fan, whether you're a fan 5, 10, 15, 30, or even 50 years from all around this great country. It's not for those that are going to be locked in. It's for trying to generate more fans. So if they want the pitcher to go out there and work in rhythm with a guy on base, begin the windup within 20 seconds, nobody on base, begin the windup within 15 seconds, or have the batter make sure that he's back in the batter's box within 8 seconds, then making the base pass first, second, and third bigger, eliminating the shift. All of this is to make the game better. We've seen leagues, whether it be the National Football League, do you think it's the same league as it is today in 2023, or what we saw in 2022 as it was 30 years ago? No, it's not. Is NBA basketball the same? No. How many games do you see being played? 83-79 finals. You don't see that at all. So every league adjusts to try and bring what? More fans into the sport. And that is something that Major League Baseball is going out there and trying to do. I've been critical at times of Rob Manfred, whether or not as a MLB commissioner, whether he likes the sport based on some of the rhetoric that he has spewed in years gone by. But I got to be honest with you, as a longtime baseball fan, I've been a Yankee fan my entire life. Watched a ton of Met games here in the tri-state area. Watched baseball all around. Can't wait for October baseball. Think it's absolutely unbelievable what is transpiring now and what's happening now, and the rule changes being brought about baseball. It's going to bring back to the game to when I became a fan, where the stolen base was something, moving guys over was something, having men on base, batting averages ascending, not being an all or nothing league where either you're striking out or hitting the ball over the fence. And that is what baseball is trying to do. So as everybody tries to adjust, and change is difficult, whether you're changing your diet, exercise routine, changing your relationships, changing a job, change is different. I get that. And it's hard. But let's take a step back. Let's understand what Major League Baseball is trying to do here. And they're trying to repopulate or repopularize the sport. That's what they're trying to do. They're clearly the third most popular sport in the United States. They want to make it less regionalized. This is the way they need to go about doing it. I'm all for it. For more content like this, download the Bettor Sports Network app or go to bettorsports.com.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. It's in the freaking game, and we are about to get into our next draft. We're drafting college football teams today. JL's going to explain a little bit more about our criteria here, but it's football, baby.
It's football, baby. Yeah, so college football schools, the way that I'm looking at this is not necessarily this. You're not necessarily drafting football teams. So this isn't necessarily you trying to pick, do rankings for college football teams. It's based off the experience and the holistic view of that school. So, but with a bend towards college football schools. So big college football schools. Which one would you rather have?
I like that. And can you, and if you want, I guess you could factor in individual players and stuff, but it's more of like the overall, like the, and you can factor in like the historical
experience of the school, whatever.
Got the game day, the traditions, the
okay.
It's a little more open-ended, but I thought that could be fun here.
I like that. Yeah, you can interpret it in your own way, but it's not like you're sitting here and you're being like, well, I would take Texas because I would have Vince Young at quarterback, and then I, you know what I mean? Like, it's more broad.
Right.
I like that. Okay. I like that. All right, let's get it.
Let's determine our draft order here. JL, you want me to determine yours first, second, or third?
Second.
Okay, then I'll determine. Coop, you want yours determined first or third?
Third.
Okay, that means we're determining mine first. And I got the first overall pick, baby. JL, we're picking between 2 and 3. You got the second overall pick. We're just going in the order.
I feel like your random number generator is just a normal number generator. Feels like always the first one is the first one. Second one,
Google.
second.
I just use the Google. I just Googs it every single time.
Oh yeah, random +1.
If I'm going blah, 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 then you know I'm faking it. But in case that wasn't clear. Yeah, in case that wasn't clear.
I do like the lizard.
Whenever I don't go blah, 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 then it's usually a real random number generator, at least as random as it can get.
Yes. All right. So I wasn't listening. So what pick do I have?
You have the third pick. You got pick number 3. I got pick number 1. And
before you make your pick, Simon, we got some people here in the chat. We got Dustin who asked the other Dustin he asked, want to be a tag team? Our finisher is called Getting Dusted. We include a Thanos snap into it. Dusted.
I like that.
It's 2.0, y'all.
It's 2.0, y'all.
And then we got Kevin Frank in the chat said, next up, insurance app.
You just get your insurance on the fly. That's the trick to those apps is being like, yeah, you can obviously make lasagna, but you got to get your own insurance. That's not on us. That's not, our responsibility with the app.
We just partner with an insurance company in app. So like before you go to fight someone, like you
can
gotta
get an
have
insurance
insurance
plan
to show up. And you can get one through the app.
Would you like food poisoning insurance?
Yeah, I think adding insurance to the costs of this is probably going to tank the whole idea of selling a couple places
twice a restaurant.
Yeah. Now you're just a restaurant. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll hammer it out. I'll have the lawyers hammer that out. I'm more of an idea guy.
Tim said Simon randomly generating a number, so he's first to grab Clemson. I was afraid there would be accusations here because this does seem like a clear first pick for 2 of the people on the show, but
I would have definitely picked it first. You kidding?
Yeah, Coop would have absolutely done that as well.
You know my strategy.
Well, here's my first overall pick. It may come as a surprise to some of you, but it is going to be Clemson. It's where I went to school. I'm not even going to pretend like there's not bias here, but let's talk about it from a subjective standpoint.
Reach.
They've won 2 national championships in the last 5 years, one of the most dominant programs along with Georgia and Alabama in modern college football. They are one of the powerhouses. Their colors, orange and purple, are a unique color combo for college sports. It's not that red and black. It's not that red and white. It's not the blue and silver. We've got unique color combinations there. What makes college football fun is tradition. And Clemson is up there with schools with the most tradition. Before a game starts, every single time, they meet at the top of the hill and rub the rock before running down the hill. They play over the intercom. If you ain't going to give 110%, keep your filthy hands off my rock. And the whole stadium goes insane as the players run down the hill. They release 20,000 balloons into the air. It is, if you've never been to a Clemson game and you are a college football fan, I know you're going to think I'm biased, but it is one of the most unique college football experiences, that intro onto the field. They call it the most exciting 20 seconds in college football for a reason, and that's because, like, no matter how corny you think it is, I remember my cousins roasted the hell out of me mocking Howard's rock. Oh, it's just a rock. Like, whenever they would bring – and then the cousin who mocked me the most came down for a game, and Clemson got blasted by Jameis Winston in Florida State. But you know what he never did again was mock me for the Clemson traditions, because he got there and he was like, oh, shoot, this is freaking cool, man. This is pretty cool.
He was crying like SpongeBob.
Oh, exactly.
It's a
when you've been tailgating all day in that hot sun, just drinking, man, that nothing beats that tradition.
Drinking gin since 8 a.m. It's now 8 p.m. in the
college football game is quite a transcendental experience at that point.
I would call you a homer if Clemson wasn't also a really, really good football school in general. Like, you know what I mean? The championships, so many good players. Like, say what you will about Deshaun Watson, but awesome. The list of wide receivers. I mean, rattle off some Clemson wide receivers, right?
DeAndre Hopkins, Martavius Bryant, Adam Humphrey, Sammy Watkins, Mike Williams, T. Higgins, Amari Rogers, Hunter Renfrow.
So rude you didn't say Hunter Renfrow. I was just like, like, how could you forget?
And then you have there's some all-time guys too. Like, didn't Weapon X go there too? Isn't Brian Dawkins a Clemson guy?
Yeah.
Like CJ Spiller.
Yeah, CJ Spiller. How can you? Whenever you name Brian Dawkins, you have to name CJ Spiller.
I mean, what's funny is Tim came in at the same exact time as you, Jalen, and said CJ Spiller.
CJ Spiller.
For some reason, Clemson. I feel like Clemson fans have like this weird pride around CJ Spiller. Like, he's this superstar that, like, it's the league's fault he didn't work out because he was so good at Clemson.
Yeah, it's not even just the league's fault. It's that one offensive coordinator from Buffalo who said, we're going to give him the ball till he throws up. And then they did, and then he was terrible in fantasy football. That is what really turned it. Like CJ Spiller was a fine NFL player, but that one thing where that like tricked everyone into drafting him in the first round in fantasy football that year had that kind of sullied his reputation. So not even his fault, honestly.
And Tim bringing up maybe the most famous Clemson player of all time, William the Refrigerator Perry, is the last one.
Really?
The Fridge is a Clemson dude, and I've seen that man on
I don't
campus.
think I knew he was a Clemson guy.
Yeah,
Really?
the Fridge still is Fridge shaped. Some of these guys lose that weight when they get big, when they get older. The Fridge, he could still take you out. That's a big man that I saw walking around campus. Well, Joe, you got the next pick here. I don't think anyone's surprised that I took Clemson with the first overall pick. You are now on the clock.
It's a little surprising. I don't think that most people are going to take Clemson, but I think it deserves to be in the conversation. So I like that pick, Simon. I think it was a good one.
Thanks.
For my pick, oh man, this kind of sucks.
Dustin goes, can we talk about how Simon dropped Amari Rodgers in the list of Clemson greats?
You said name some Clemson wide receivers.
It's true. He's a wide receiver in the NFL.
I had some hope for Amari Rodgers.
Me too.
I think we all did, yeah.
As did I.
All right, my next. So I got the second pick here. Simon took Clemson. I gotta go with the chalk pick. I gotta go with Alabama.
Obviously.
It's just everyone I've heard describe, everyone I know that has gone to Alabama describes that football culture as just something unbelievable, something they haven't experienced before.
Everything. They describe it as everything.
Right. It's the entire fabric of that culture, of the social culture at that school. It's everything. And Clemson football is a massive part of it. It's not quite the only thing. Where it feels like Alabama really like that's it. That's that for them. So I think I got to take Alabama. It's just college football schools.
When you talk the greatest coaches of all time, you can't get more than 4 names in without naming 2 Alabama coaches, Nick Saban and Bear Bryant, right? Like immediately you're talking about the greatest coaches of all time. Both of those names come up within the first 4 or 5 names that you mentioned. They've been unbelievably dominant just from an on the field perspective. And then look at what they bring to the NFL.
So long.
Like the talent they send to the NFL, they send NFL ready players over and over again into the league.
And I'm adding that into I'm factoring that into my decision here too. Is it's not just the experience, but also the football part of it. It's fun being a fan of a team that's going to be consistently good and competent.
Yeah. I mean, like it's Alabama, man, and then especially now, like you could say that not only do they have it now, but they have historically they have the most bowl games, they have the most national championships, right? So or at least the FBS national championships. So it's just like that would have been my number 1 pick, just because for me personally, I'm not a huge college football guy. I didn't go to a school where I went to a business school that they were D2. So I didn't really go to a ton of games. Boston College, the games, nobody really cares, right?
You guys were try and project ticket prices and stuff.
Exactly. For us, the closest, if you want to go down, if I want to go down and watch a big college football game, the closest I could do is we would go down and watch UConn get crushed by Michigan. That's what our options are. You know what I mean? So there's not a ton of options up here. So for me, I would pick based purely on the football, in which case Alabama for me is number 1. Right.
Makes sense. I do have an Alabama A on my ass as well, so I have to show support for that school and for that pick, JL. You picked my depending on which direction. How do you define butt cheeks? Is it my right or is it your right?
Is it looking at it or is it
looking at it's the same because you face the same direction. Oh my God!
Unless you have a mirror.
Unless you have a mirror.
I believe it's
you drafted my right butt cheek is what I was saying.
I believe it's port and starboard.
How'd you pick between left and right?
I let Mob pick the guy who did it.
How did he pick?
He goes, you gotta go.
You can get out of starboard. Let me just tell you the worst part about getting your ass.
Wait a second. If he's going bippity boppity boop, where's that boppity thing?
I'll tell you where it went because in order to get through your butt, the skin has to be tight. So they have to pull the skin a little bit and I don't know. The pinky
Yeah.
does some wandering, man.
Yeah, that's,
I might
I
be
don't
lying.
know.
I said me and Mob didn't cross some like relationship
Mob.
boundaries pretty early on.
I think you want to
Sweet.
keep that at bippity boppity.
We don't want none of that boo.
You don't
Well,
want
Coop,
none of
you're
that.
on the clock now. I drafted Clemson first. Dale drafted Alabama. Who are you taking with the third pick?
So I'm going to do something right now that is going to be highly controversial. People are not going to like this. They're really not. I'm going to make both my picks right now back to back, and I'm going to take Ohio State, and I'm also going to take Michigan. So I'm going double back to back. The all-time winning percentage team in Ohio State. The Ohio State also has I think they have the most first-round picks of all time. The most weeks in the top of the AP poll. But then I'm also taking Michigan, which is the team that has the most wins all time of any college football program. Historic program. I always wanted to go to the Big House. It's like, what is that, hold like 120,000 people? Like such a rowdy environment. So why not come out here and take the Red Sox and the Yankees and take what I consider to be the best rivalry in college football, get both sides, both historic programs, both consistently churning out NFL players, and just enjoy the whole thing. I've got some other teams on my list here, some that I think I can get later, some that kind of rub me the wrong way, and I'll talk about that when we get to some of those teams. For me, as an outsider, I don't have a dog in this fight. I just enjoy good football, so I'm going to take them both. Give me Ohio State and give me Michigan.
My immediate visceral reaction was to Ohio State. One team I got beef with, man. But from a college football perspective, like they had to be drafted, and I'm glad you did it, Coop. And then getting them with Michigan is kind of fun. Like it's almost like the stack, right? Like having them together, you now have the biggest noon game of the year every single year.
Yeah.
Ohio
The thing
State
is, I probably if we throw these up on Twitter, I probably just lost any Twitter vote because
the Ohio State
the people that hate, you almost have to pick, right? But I can be that one person who, if somebody was like, I love baseball, but I really don't have an allegiance, you could pick the Red Sox and Yankees. Whereas most of us would be like, you have to pick one or the other. Like, I don't have to pick one or the other. I think they're both awesome programs. I love watching both of them play. I root for them individually when they do play. So give me a both.
Dustin in the chat saying, Omega saying, I went to Mississippi State down in Stark, Vegas, so live close to Tuscaloosa.
Ooh.
Those tailgates get different. Def start drinking at 8 a.m. football Saturday there.
Yeah.
Stark Vegas has been whenever Mississippi State was rolling with Dak, right? And they were number one in the country for a bit there. And there were all the Stark Vegas commercials and ESPN promos. I loved it. What a fun moniker for a college town. John Luke, you are back on the clock. Are you drafting Mississippi State down there in Stark Vegas, or are you going a different way?
I thought about it. I did think about it, but then I thought about other things. I'm going to go with this one's kind of tough. There's a couple choices here, and I'm trying to decide if I want to go again the chalk route, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Georgia.
That's a pick.
I'm going to go Georgia, and it's not solely because Georgia has won the last 2 years, because I think I would put Georgia into the same category as Clemson, where I think they're both top programs. Maybe not quite as consistent as Alabama, but still the upside is there, and they have the name there. And so the college football experience is the real differentiator for me with the Georgia game. My favorite ever Clemson game was against Georgia, a sophomore year. It was just so much fun. They are such a good student body. I always have so much fun whenever we play them, where it's it's just very competitive. It's not like Ohio State where you could tell this they attach their identity to their school. Georgia fans, I feel like, at least the ones I've met, have been way more chill. Just yeah, we're gonna talk shit, but we're also gonna have fun. And
downtown Athens is if you're looking for a college town, it is a college town on steroids. Go out there after a game. Think of downtown Clemson or most college towns. There's a street or two with, let's say, 10 bars, right? That's a pretty good college town to have 10 bars on a couple of streets. You're feeling good. And then you've got the city campuses like Georgia Tech in downtown Atlanta. You've got the whole city of Atlanta, but it loses some of that. This is a college town vibe. The city of Athens is a pretty big city. The campus backs up directly to downtown, and there are over 100 bars in downtown Athens. It's all there is. You just walk around. It is, I don't know how anybody goes to school there and survives and comes out with a degree, but downtown Athens after a game is like that alone is worth a first round pick because it is just an absurd game day experience being in that city.
I'm glad you added that because I did not know that, Simon.
That sounds dope, dude. Plus, you're like Georgia they might not have like the history that some of these other places, but right now they are crushing. Like in recent years, they are just like dominating. Like it's
the parallel to Clemson. I was going to say the parallel to Clemson is kind of funny, JL, that you say that like success wise. Before recently, the last national championship Clemson won was in 1981 for UGA, 1980. We come back, we win 2016, 2018. UGA is coming back to prominence 2021, 2022. So like we both took what is that, a 40-year gap just about in between national championships, but we won them close together, 40-year gap, 1-2 more. Like the parallels are pretty similar in the success of these programs.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the Georgia program evolves now with a lot of these the coaching changes. Obviously, Monken now in the NFL.
Yeah, well, that makes it my pick, and Bettor out in the chat spoiling mine a little bit. But I'm a sucker for tradition. I'm a sucker for fun entrances, and I'm a sucker for the way things look. And I'm taking Notre Dame here. It was a family school for me.
That's a good pick.
My grandmother went to St. Mary's back when Notre Dame and St. Mary's were all boy and all girl. They're across the street from each other. And I got to go up to Notre Dame for a football game. And the tradition there, you can just kind of feel it, right? They got to play like a champion today. It's such strong tradition. They made a freaking movie about it with Rudy, right? And then you're in the stadium and you look back and there's Jesus himself standing up over the back of the stadium with his arms up in the air. Like touchdown Jesus is a sight to see in real life because like the pictures don't capture how absurd it is to have a full building-sized Jesus standing in the background behind your end zone while you score. The game I was there for was like a Western Michigan game. It was nothing, but every time they scored, the whole student section, every group of 10 or so would pick up one human and throw them in the air for however many points they scored. So whenever Notre Dame racked up and scored like 40 points, you look over in the student section and there's hundreds of kids just being thrown up and down 40 times a piece. It's a fun school. And then on top of that, one of the only independent schools in the country, they consistently are relevant. They've got the USC rivalry, the Michigan rivalry, the Stanford rivalry, the Navy rivalry. Like it's a fun school for traditions.
I've actually just came up with a new app idea. It's this app that helps you find kids in your student section to throw up and down when there's a touchdown. And
I thought it was a throw up, like drank too much thing.
And you're gonna need. That's another one that's probably gonna need insurance tied to it. But the thing with me with Notre Dame is they were obviously on my list. But I have one bone to pick, and this is a personal thing. It's a local thing. But in Boston, there's a lot of Irish people, and there are just so many fake Notre Dame fans. There are some great, real Notre Dame fans that do truly care. But I'll tell you, there's in Boston, two things. Notre Dame and St. Patrick's Day really brings the casuals out of the woodwork and the fakers out of the woodwork. And to me, it kind of sullies the whole thing a little bit where it's just like so many people are just like, oh, Notre Dame. And I'm like, name one. I am that guy that's like, name a single Notre Dame player. And they're just like, well,
Ian Book.
I'm Irish. So I Notre Dame, like, I'm just like, okay, enough, please stop, save me from that. So for me personally, it's been a little sullied for me, but there are some of my good friends are great Notre Dame fans, real Notre Dame fans, and they have the play like a champion today thing when they walk in their man cave and they hit that, you know what I mean? Like I love that stuff. My buddy's dad, this guy Tim Nolan, he has actual Notre Dame grass, like a patch of grass that he like waters and like keeps alive, that is like real Notre Dame fandom versus the
impressive.
Not a big fan of like my dad's over there nodding his head. He's like, yeah, that's real. Yeah,
it doesn't bother me too much. I think you should just be a fan of whatever you want to be. It's an experience. I understand the mindset though, like the more purist mindset.
It is
more look at it through like the lens of just like anybody can be part of an experience. You don't got to go to school or have your parents be fans of it. Like that's just unlikely.
Some of the biggest fans, like I know are people that didn't go to. It's okay if you didn't go to the school. It's just like it's just a little too much bandwagoning for me.
Don't be a douchebag. I think it's just the general rule. Be nice, whether you went to school or not, and then most people are going to like you. I got another pick here, and I've been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I don't know exactly what I want to do here. I love tradition, but I think I'm going to go with a school that has some real history in college football, and may have put the most hated college football team of all time out on the field, and one of the greatest ESPN 30 for 30s ever. I'm taking the U, baby. The University of Miami is getting
Good pick.
drafted onto my team. I just feel like you can't talk about the history of college football without talking about those teams, right? Like those 80s teams out of the University of Miami, like they were freaking bad, man. They went out there and they just ran things and they didn't care what people thought about them. Like it was, you go back and watch that. Like I wish I could have experienced it when it was happening.
I love, so at the they have FSGA conference, Michael Irvin was there to help promote his new app, but he was telling a little story about like kind of how he got started and all these things. And he explained what it was like for the U in that time and the genius of their recruiting to just, Michael Irvin was like, here's what they did. They went to the best players in Florida and said, come to Florida. We're building a team of all Florida boys. And we're just going to steamroll everybody. And he's like, and then once they got a couple of the good guys, they just started going in the hood and being like, why don't you guys come play for Florida? We're putting an all Florida team together, all the bad boys. And he's like, and it worked. And he's like, they got me over there. They got Willis McGahee, all these different guys. Like for years, it went on with like Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. And they just got all the best players from Florida to represent Florida. And they were steamrolling teams. And he also said that the coach, Jimmy Johnson, was like, why don't you boys just go out and have fun and we'll figure out the rest later. So he was also kind of like, be who you are, be a bad boy, be whatever, you know? So it makes it sound like just such a crazy, rowdy, fun time, right? Just these bad boys.
Sounds like the players were kind of running it and it worked. The players were in charge and that team came out and they got it done. So I'm drafting the U. There's some real college football history there with the U. John Luke, you are back on the clock. Where are you rolling here?
I'm trying to decide between two. I like the U pick. They were on my list for sure. I think I couldn't have taken them earlier. I don't know that I would have taken them here. And so I'm okay. I'm okay that you took them, and I think it was a good pick. I want to say LSU here, but there's one thing that's
all SEC team.
That just drafted straight all SEC. There's one thing I really dislike about LSU.
Wait, before you go, Coop so far has only Big Ten teams. If you count Notre Dame as a partial member of the ACC, I have only ACC teams, and so far you have all SEC teams. We're just drafting based on conference. So go ahead. What's your problem with that LSU?
LSU, I think, is from what has been described to me, one of the defining college football game day experiences out of all of the football schools, one of the top ones. The thing I don't like about LSU is that they have a live mascot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just shitty at the end of the day. And I don't think it adds much. That would definitely take away from the experience for me because I'd just be sitting there like, damn, they're just making that animal sit out here in the heat in a cage for no reason.
Oh, they have a live animal? Oh, I don't like that.
You did draft Georgia.
I did draft Georgia dog, which is more used to being domesticated.
You're right. I'm just being a jackass.
But it's a fair point. It's a fair point. So I'm actually not going to take LSU here. I'm going to take Penn State.
Ooh, that was on my list, dude. That was on my list.
Whiteout game. There's hardly anything that's like prettier to look at on TV than whenever Penn State does the whiteout.
And Penn State is so freaking huge with the student body that their football experience, I just feel like just volume wise is always impressive.
Yeah, no, 100%. They've got one of the largest student bodies in the nation, if I'm not mistaken.
It's like 90,000 students.
Yeah. And
honestly, their fans. I don't meet rude Penn State fans. Like most other Big Ten schools, they just love their school for the most part. Like it's a passionate fan base. But I don't have negative Penn State fan experiences.
No, me neither.
And I've heard that those fans know how to party.
Penn State
game day is something to behold. Yeah. Me and my pops grew up, rooting for Penn State. I kind of as a side squad. Obviously, it was PC Friars in basketball, but we always kept an eye on Penn State, dude. Good program. So I like that pick. That's a good one.
Where are you rolling with your next pick, Coop?
Yeah, so I know you said there was nothing more appealing to look at than the Penn State wearing all their white shirts and whatnot. But I think I have something more appealing to look at, and that's why I'm picking USC. I'm going with USC and just the entire environment of, I mean, not just if you go and look at the numbers, like historically speaking, I know as of late they haven't been as dominant, but historically speaking, they're like number 2 all time in wins. Like they're number 2 in national championships. Like they got a lot going for them, and just the whole idea of having a beach party school on my list. You know what I mean? With all that comes with that. You know what I mean? So I have Ohio State, Michigan, got my blue collar squads, blue collar rivalry. I got to add a little bit of flavor in there. I got to add a little bit of fun, a little bit of Rose Bowl action type feel to it. So give me USC. How do you guys feel about USC? You in on USC vibe?
I think it's a great pick. I think it's one of the true blue bloods of college football. And the thing about blue bloods is you can't add new ones. Like any team that becomes great now, it's like the traditional powerhouses of college football. They have the history from the start. So like USC, Texas, Oklahoma, Michigan, Notre Dame, Alabama, maybe Tennessee, and then like that's really it. You know what I mean? I think Clemson's new money, Georgia's new money. Like a lot of these schools that are up there, we've got these traditional powerhouses, and USC has got I forget how epic the Rose Bowl looks from the aerial shot until I see that shot every time. Coop, you're right. It's it's so pretty, man.
I just feel like they're like the a lot of these. I feel like I create like a persona around the school, or like the type of person that would be a fan of that school, and I feel like the USC fans, the whole vibe is just fun. They're just like they're the California kids, you know, like long hair. They're just going to the beach and like, yeah, it's like they have some pretty solid football players, a solid football program, but it's also like backdrops like California.
You're right though, dude. You're right. There is that other vibe of it where it's like, oh, did we win today? You know,
yeah. It's like Justin Herbert. Like it's hard to hate Justin Herbert because the guy's just always just smiling.
Yeah, the guy just like walking around drinking a culotta, and he's like at the tailgate. He's like, "Oh, is there a game today, bro?"
my buddy moved to Southern California when we were in like the 6th grade, and we were just both guys, just normal guys. Then I didn't see him again until college. Whenever he was in college, he was going to Florida State and came to visit me, and the dude showed up, and it's exactly like you're describing. He was just smiling, long hair. Like he was smart enough to get a master's degree, but he was going to go back and surf instead. Like he just couldn't be bothered just hanging out, man. It turned him into a different person, different pace of life.
Yeah. So with that pick, so I'm taking USC. That's going to be my JL kind of encapsulated the vibe, the way he was smirking, describing beach football. You know what I mean? It's like I just took like a pina colada, right? So I need to take. I
love pina coladas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been drinking a good number of those. Some would say too many, but never had too many pina coladas when you're on vacation in Florida. I gotta bring it back down to earth with a more meat and potatoes football program. I'm going for pure history. I'm trying to add pure history, pure pedigree, and a winning machine and a good amount of culture in Oklahoma. Like just a team, and guys like it's like it's not all just history with this team. It's like they had Adrian Peterson. They've had recent players that are awesome too. CeeDee Lamb was Oklahoma, right? So they've had some good players as of late, and historically speaking, when you go and look at the numbers, like they win that conference all the time. They're up there. I think they're tied for first in Heisman Trophy winners, top 5 in terms of overall guys that went to the NFL. So they have that history tied to it. Like if you're going through the top 10 all-time college football programs, you have to get to Oklahoma before you finish 10, right?
Yeah, and like if we're talking teams that have the most losses in the college football playoff, no one even comes close to Oklahoma with 4 college football playoff losses. Like you're right, it's not just history. They have made the college football playoff the second most number of times out of any team with 4, and they just keep losing. And then they got the record for losing that game over and over again as well.
I remember we beat them a couple times with Baker, right?
Yeah, with Baker.
That was a good game.
Now, the one thing I don't know about, because again, I I haven't ventured down to the South at all to really experience these type games. I'm waiting for my buddies from Clemson to invite me down to potentially go to a game. But
You have friends in Clemson?
I have a couple friends that went to Clemson, Tim Wright, a couple other guys, just waiting for them to be like, hey, you know what? We should take a trip down and rub the rock. And I'll be like, oh,
Dude,
yeah,
I say it every season. I haven't gone down in years, so I have to.
Let's go. Let's plan one. I would love to go down and rub the rock. But like, so I don't know what the vibe is like at an Oklahoma game. Do you guys have an idea? Like, I'm sure they have a bunch of traditions, but like, do you guys know what the vibe is like at all?
Game, but not at Oklahoma. The Clemson Oklahoma game I went to was in Miami for the Russell Athletic Bowl, I think is the bowl game that I went to down there. If that's in Miami, maybe it was the Orange Bowl because I know that one is down there. But I saw them play, and all of the Oklahoma fans that I interacted with were great. They were fun to interact with. They were just there to have a good time, every single one of them. And even though like we creamed them in the game I watched, the guys next to me, the Oklahoma guys next to me, like they were just hanging out. Know what I mean? Like they were pissed for a second, but the second half they didn't leave. They just like left their grumpies in the first half. Like they were like, cool, we're gonna lose, and then they just came and hung out for the rest of the game.
That's show.
Though I did leave my Maui Jim sunglasses in the cup holder at that game.
No, Maui Jim.
I know. So I hate your pick because Oklahoma made me lose my Maui Jim sunglasses.
Honestly, though, some of these are so razor thin that if I had lost sunglasses at a game, especially nice ones, that team would be off my board.
And I blame Oklahoma, not Clemson.
Yes, all their fault.
You're back on the clock. Coop took USC and Oklahoma at the turn there. Two blue blood programs really strengthening up that roster. Where are you going here?
Very different ends of the spectrum, I feel.
Very different, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go I know it spares. I'm going to go LSU.
Yeah.
At this point, it's too much of a value to ignore. The game day experience, I'm like that. That is still very valuable. The team, the culture around it, the Louisiana backdrop, New Orleans, like that's just dope. So give me LSU.
The only problem I have with LSU JL is the name of their stadium, the Death Valley moniker.
Yes,
that belongs to Clemson. They try to.
They call it Death Valley a lot, so I'll just let them have that one.
They got to change the name officially, and then we'll be cool. Then I'll be cool with it.
For a long time, I had bad vibes for LSU, and it probably wasn't even warranted, but I always just, for a long time, I felt like, especially with basketball and certain things, and maybe Ben Simmons is a big part of that, where he basically was like, I just came here to play basketball and go to the NFL. Sorry, go to the NBA. But like, I just got the vibe of like, the kids didn't care about the school. They just cared about like winning a little bit. I don't know. But obviously now what's really changed a lot of that for me is the way that guys like Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and these guys talk about their time there and their experience there. I feel like that whole group kind of cleansed the palate of my feelings for that organization as just kind of a come here and do one and done basketball and go to the NBA, you know, Shaq and Ben Simmons. It's mostly Ben Simmons' comments, to be honest. He said Ben Simmons said he learned more in the NBA than he did at LSU. And that's where I was like, how is that possible?
With LSU jail, though, you also have what some people argue to be the greatest college football team of all time. And that team that won the national championship with Joe Burrow a couple years ago. They talk about the people have made that argument whenever you bring up the greatest college football teams of all time. The Miami team I mentioned earlier is brought up, but that LSU team with Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson is brought up consistently as maybe the greatest college football team of all time.
I mean, when you look at just doing like relative comparison, because Clemson did play at the highest competitive level at that time, the last like the years around that. Alabama, like no games were as
lopsided
as that LSU game where they just dismantled us. Like it took like, I don't know, by the second half it was like, okay, we see how this game's going.
Yeah. Clemson's
and that
not
hasn't been the
game.
case. Yeah.
It's just think about that team where he threw 60 touchdowns just from the offense of that team. These are the players that got drafted: Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall, Racey McMath, Ty Davis Price, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Thaddeus Moss. Like the entire friggin' team went into the NFL. Trey Palmer was on that team, apparently.
All of them serially probably overhyped.
Yeah.
I mean,
great for fantasy.
Steven
Jefferson.
Sullivan. Steven
Burrow.
Sullivan
Chase.
was a wide receiver for them at the time that didn't even play, and now he's a tight end on the Panthers. Like every single dude, and I'm not even looking at that. That's just the position players. I'm not even looking at the offensive line, where I'm sure a bunch of those guys got too. But crazy, Cade York, even the kicker, Cade York, is in the NFL.
It reminds me of a tweet I saw yesterday by our good buddy Nick Ercolano, tweeted out, "I don't have the words to describe Alabama's 2018 offensive roster." He says it's QB, Tua, Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones. Running back, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Damian Harris, Brian Robinson, Jerome Ford. Wide receiver, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs. Tight end,
Good.
Irv Smith.
Oh my god,
Irv
That's
Smith.
an NFL roster.
Right. That's an amazing NFL
that's
roster.
That's like two, because the problem you run into is like, oh, do they have two quarterbacks? Yeah, they did. They did have two. Like you could probably have like two legitimate games between those.
And then
two.
he follows that up with like and that's not even considering defense, where they had Trayvon Diggs and Patrick Surtain.
That's absurd. Absolutely absurd. But
I didn't want to leave him out. I actually accidentally skipped over Foster Moreau, who was apparently on the list as well.
we even have a
Can't
whole segment
leave him
named
out.
after Mr. Moreau.
Moreau, you know.
Moreau,
Damon here.
No.
What's up, Dane? She said that's an offensive poll I just woke up to, which was I put in a poll in the chat, said who made the best first round pick between us, and I won.
She celebrated when Coop drafted USC. You made up for it by drafting USC in there,
We
Coop.
came back around.
It's the West Coast love.
Yeah, I mean, like I knew the first two picks of this draft were going to be some form of Alabama or Clemson. I knew that was happening.
Well,
And-
I'm back. Oh, what's up, Joe?
No, go ahead.
Say I'm back on the clock, and I'm going with a school that has the greatest mascot in college football. And I'm not going to get silly here and be like, oh, it's the Banana Slugs. Like I'm talking physical mascot on the side of the field. Aubie the Tiger is undefeated, man. He is so friendly, and I'm taking Auburn right here. They've got the history, but like they also have this like family vibe to them that like Alabama doesn't, or that Georgia doesn't.
It's like underdog mentality, but they still can win.
Exactly. They've got that underdog mentality, but every 5-6 years, you better watch out. Here comes Auburn with Cam Newton. Okay, back down a little
or
bit.
Auburn to beat Alabama on a kickoff. Or what was it was a short
six.
field goal. Yeah, the kick six. It was a short
You're
field goal.
Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football
I
game.
just got goosebumps because
How
I
many
forgot
times
about
did
that
you
moment.
Hear that broadcast like that
So
man
many
just
times.
screaming, Auburn's going to win the football game. And let me just tell you, when you're at that stadium and you're going like, what is War Eagle? Like I thought they were the Tigers. That thought leaves your mind forever the second that eagle starts flying around the stadium, because all of a
It's
sudden it's just
majestic.
and you're like, oh, that's cool. I don't even care what the history is now.
They got an Eagle too. Yeah, I vibe with Auburn because they have a little bit of the what my Red Sox experience, which is the little brother syndrome. Like even when you're the better team, because the other team is Alabama, you get treated like the little brother. Like even when Auburn is better than Alabama to a certain degree, you get treated like the little brother. And that's how it is with the Red Sox and Yankees. Like the Yankees can suck and the Red Sox can be awesome, but it's still like, oh, the Yankees, 27 championships or whatever. So I vibe with Auburn. I like that pick. They probably would have been my next pick if I was up next.
Well, I got one more pick here, and I'm really torn on this. Part of me wants to go like history. Part of me just wants to go with my favorite entrance in college football besides Clemson's. Those are really the two I'm deciding between.
I hate being in the middle of this draft.
I'm going with
hate
I'm
not
going with
getting
my
two.
favorite entrance of all. No. Ah! Jail, pick a number 1 or 2.
2, 1.
Okay, 1 it is.
Two.
We are going with my favorite entrance in college football besides the Clemson entrance, and that is the Virginia Tech Hokies with their entrance to
Ooh.
Enter Sandman. If you have not watched this, type in Virginia Tech Enter Sandman on YouTube, and I guarantee you it's going to bring up a night game. And the whole stadium looks like there's an earthquake going on at the football game because it's just vibrating with people jumping up and down as they play Enter Sandman.
Oh.
It is like goosebump inducing. They also are another school where I feel like it's a little bit like little brother syndrome. Like they've been great. They've got some good coaches. Beamer was there forever, like one of the all-time great college football coaches, but they don't quite have the like prestige or pedigree that some of these other schools do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Simon. And the only downside of the Hokies is that I'm pretty sure their campus smells like turkey guts every once in a while because they've got like a turkey factory nearby or something.
Yeah,
That
of
sounds-
course.
I just remember that's a fact because so Virginia Tech and Clemson were my top two schools that I was going back and forth between, and I remember turning on TV, seeing Clemson was playing Virginia Tech, and going, all right, whoever wins this game, I'll go to that school. Clemson
And then
won,
you
so I
got,
went to Clemson.
and then Virginia Tech won, but you got to the campus and it smelled like turkey guts. So you went
It
to the
smells
other
like
school.
turkey guts. Yeah, I never actually went to the campus at Tech, but my cousins go there. They said it's very nice. I like the Virginia Tech pick. I think that they're a team that is probably underrated a lot of times or forgotten a lot of times, but they're also kind of little babies sometimes. Weren't they the ones with the towel or the like camera stuff that they were getting upset about with
NC
Dabo?
State.
That was
right?
NC State. Oh, okay.
And NC State has a hate boner for Clemson.
Okay, sorry, Virginia Tech. I didn't mean to disrespect you like that.
I'm trying to fix my camera.
Screw NC State though.
Yeah.
John Luke, you're back on the clock after this one. Virginia Tech was my last pick. Sorry, Coop, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Do you hate Virginia Tech's turkey guts too?
I actually don't know too much about them, so I will say good pick.
Their colors are Thanksgiving, so you got that going for you.
Their colors are Thanksgiving. This is an interesting combo.
It's
I like Auburn's colors a lot.
It sounds like a lot of like disrespect to turkeys.
Can I give a fun
Thanksgiving and
Auburn
the turkey factory?
It hits all Thanksgiving themed school. The Hokies, they got a turkey on the side of the
That's a
field.
good point.
So you mentioned liking the Auburn colors, and I mentioned liking the Clemson colors. And this is maybe my favorite college football fun fact. You've probably heard me share it a million times already, but I'm going to share it again. Heisman was the coach over at Auburn whenever Clemson's football program started. He was hired by Clemson to be the first football coach of their new football program. Clemson had no money for a football program whenever they started. So Heisman brought the old Auburn practice squad jerseys with him to Clemson. Now, these were old, faded Auburn jerseys. So that navy looked a lot like purple. So the Clemson football team colors being orange and purple come from the fact that Heisman was the first football coach at Clemson and brought the Auburn practice jerseys with him. And those colors and the Tiger mascot stuck because of his transition from
I don't
Auburn
think
to
I've ever
Clemson's
heard you say
football
that.
coach.
That's super fascinating. I did not know that.
Right? That's a cool little connection between the two schools' college football history. There's a reason it looks a lot alike. The colors were because they were the faded colors of Auburn. The Tigers are because the jersey said Tigers on them that Heisman brought over.
So they were just like, he's like,
Damn.
that looks good enough. We'll go with that. Like,
Or
or was it like an intentional choice? Like, we're going to be the colors of
It's
faded
what they
Auburn.
were wearing, right? It's the jerseys that they had. Those, like the jerseys that he was able to secure for the team were the old practice squad jerseys from Auburn. So that's what they had. They had orange and
That's
purple
funny.
jerseys that said Tigers.
That's
That's
hilarious.
that's a negative in my book. Like, the
Tim
whole
said, and
jersey.
everybody is a Tiger because of Princeton.
Because of Princeton, yeah. Victor in here said, JL, you're a Ravens fan, right? With the teams that already mentioned that won't pursue Lamar, how much do you think it is that he wants in his contract? Is it like a 4-year deal worth 190 to 200 million with 70 to 100%? Here's the way I think of it. First of all, I don't think those teams are actually not pursuing Lamar Jackson. I think some of them are. Some of them probably aren't or can't, but I think a lot of them are. I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to sit out there. Now, I don't think this is just a no-brainer decision for any team. This is a huge risk. I do think there are some teams that are willing to take the risk. What he's looking for is north of 230 million fully guaranteed. Is the what we've been able to surmise from the information we've gotten, which is something around Deshaun's range, also fully guaranteed.
Yeah, and I will tell you this, like Lamar Jackson, I don't think given especially the style of play that he has, I would personally not play on the $32 million tag. Like if I can't figure out a deal, I'm not playing on that 1-year tag. This guy's been hurt 4 out of 5 years. He's been hurt 4 years in a row. He's missed games. He only played 12 games in 2021, only played 12 games in 2022. The nature of what they ask him to do is very physically punishing to his body. Unless a team's going to make a long-term commitment to me, I'm not going to go out there and put myself on the line like that. Honestly, like some people need to make the best long-term decisions. He's like 25, 26 years old. He's got so much football left to play. it would be so dumb to go out and play on a 1-year deal and blow out a knee or something like RG3 did, or hurt your shoulder like Cam Newton, or hurt your shoulder like Chad Pennington, and then all of a sudden now you traded hundreds of $1 million for a fraction of that. So I just can't see him signing this $32 million whatever tag it is and then playing on that personally.
I agree. I'm with you. Yeah.
Well, John Luke, you are back on the clock here. I drafted Virginia Tech with my last pick in this draft. You got one more pick. Your team so far is Alabama, Georgia, Penn State, LSU. Who are you adding to round this team out?
All right, my last pick here.
You going west of the Mississippi? Because you and I have stayed pretty east of the Mississippi so far, as Al pointed out.
We have, maybe this is East Coast bias, but it just feels like West Coast college football different.
East Coast, East Coast.
Let the record show that 80% of the country lives to the east of the Rocky Mountains. So let's not get crazy here.
I'm gonna go with a university that is on the East Coast. I'm gonna go with Florida. The Swamp. Give me the Swamp, baby.
Or is it for Tim Tebow alone?
Yeah, it's for Tim Tebow alone.
Like he is a college, he's like a college football god myth. Like the Greeks had like Hercules and Atalanta and Jason, and we have Tim Tebow. Does he not have like a hero vibe to him?
Oh, 100%. Like he got some sort of like tome or token that gave him the abilities, and then it was taken away from him. That's what it feels like happened.
100%. 100%. Joey down here said JL wins with the Florida pick.
Florida. The reason I'm going with Florida here is really mainly for the party vibe. The Florida school, like all of my friends who went to Florida, I was so jealous watching their Instagrams or whatever, like their game days. It is insane. It's a giant freaking party all the time. Give me Florida. That's just hella fun.
You know what they call the Georgia-Florida game in Jacksonville, right? The world's largest cocktail party. That's the borderline official name for it, for those teams meeting in Jacksonville.
That's awesome.
Did not know that. That's crazy.
That's dope. Yeah. Florida, like they just seem like a good balance of fun and tradition and ability. It's crazy how many good schools there are that they're this far down, because they were definitely on my list.
Well, Coop, you got one more pick to round this draft out. Where are you rolling?
So I've got a couple. Since I'm the last one here, I can throw out a couple names of ones that I had under consideration. I considered Nebraska, but they're also, to me, it's not fun enough, and I just don't know if it's like it's got enough like party vibe and like good time vibes for me. Though they are historically obviously a good school. I thought about Army or Navy. I like the idea of the tradition, but yeah, between those games, Army and Navy. Navy, of course, being Bill Belichick's one. Army, of course, being how I would pander to Twitter to get more votes.
I was between Navy and Virginia Tech as my last pick. That was the other school, the tradition I was talking about.
Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do instead, because I am not a college football guy at heart, I don't have any allegiances. I can actually oddly be virtually completely unbiased. Like I mentioned a few of my biases with like Notre Dame and stuff like that, but I can be fairly unbiased. So I'll pick a team that everyone seems to hate, but I do enjoy a lot of their traditions. It seems like they have a lot of fun with guys like Matthew McConaughey and stuff hanging around. Give me Texas, dude.
I typed it in before you said it. As soon as you said a team everybody loves to hate,
everybody loves to hate him, dude. Yeah, everybody loves to hate him, but honestly, this pick is like 90% based on the hook 'em horn stuff. Like I kind of love that whole like hook 'em, you know what I mean? Just like that whole idea of like go Cougs, like having a little thing like that where you got the hand signal and the little thing you say hook 'em, like that to me is something that if you go to that school and you wear a Texas hat or shirt or whatever, and you see somebody else wearing one, I love that stuff. I told you how it got me into a little trouble when I went to, when I was in Europe and I was saying hey to everybody I saw in a Boston hat. And then when I came back, I forgot that you don't do that. So I'm just like, let's go bees. You know what I mean? Like, I love that stuff, dude. A little camaraderie among fans. I'm never going to pick Texas A&M and like be like, hey, let's take our rings off and put them in a glass of milk and chug it. Like, I'm not like, that's a little crazy for me, but like the whole just real quick hook them. Love that. Love that.
I like the pick, and I think it would have been a shame if we did a whole college football draft without Texas getting drafted. The only issue I have with them is since moving close to the university, I'm within a couple hours now. Good God, the arrogance of Texas fans. They think and know that they are college football royalty. They don't care that they haven't been good in 20 years. You're still below them.
Doesn't matter.
As a fan of another school, because they're fans of Texas. They're fans of UT Austin. Like, everyone else can just back up. Like, you get, that's cute, Alabama. Like, they got that kind of vibe to them, like the Southern condescension, like oh, bless your heart. Like, that's how it feels a little bit from Texas looking at other college schools.
Bless your heart is such an amazing saying. Like, obviously I could never use it properly up here, but it really is, as like an old lady could just murder you by just saying bless your heart. Like, it's basically just like an old lady can just say, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Just like, it's so great though. Bless your heart.
Yeah, guys, coming up, we got our friend Moody joining us to play a game called Feeling Lucky Punk. So make sure you're sticking around to play with us. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse on Bettor Sports Network.
Do you believe in the Madden curse? Do you think that's a real thing?
I did. Now, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore, but it was a real thing for a solid 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it was Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Hillis.
LT was never on the cover. I know that.
Was he not? I thought he was one. Okay, well, you do know all the covers of everything.
Yeah, okay. So if you want, I could do this real quick. So Garrison Hurst is the first official Madden cover athlete, 1999. 2000, I believe they still put John Madden on the cover. And then 2001 is where it all started. So 2001, you have Eddie George. 2002, Dante Culpepper. 2003, Marshall Falk. 04, Michael Vick. 05, Ray Lewis, first defensive player on the cover.
Okay.
06, Donovan McNabb. 07, Sean Alexander.
Okay.
08, Vince Young. 09, Brett Favre.
Okay.
10 is a trick one because it's
no way you know.
And Larry Fitzgerald. 11, Drew Brees. 12, Peyton Hillis. 13, Calvin Johnson, I believe so.
You're right.
14.
No way you know all this.
14, also a trick question. I believe that's the Madden 25 cover, and it's Barry Sanders, unless you got it for the new consoles, in which case Adrian Peterson
oh my God.
was on the cover.
You're not cheating. You're not looking at.
Swear on my life. Swear on my life.
Okay. Keep on going.
15, you have Richard Sherman.
Okay.
16. Hold on. 16 is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
16. 17. Now this is the one I get mixed up because 17 and 18 are back-to-back Patriots.
They are.
17, I think, is Gronk, and 18 is Brady.
You are correct.
19 is Antonio Brown.
Correct.
20, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my goodness.
21, Lamar Jackson. 22, Brady Mahomes. 23, John Madden. But yeah, dude, I'm a cover nerd when it comes to this stuff.
We now know, but that was really impressive. I don't know how.
Thank you.
That's literally 29 of them or something like that. Wow, that is. You did not miss a single one, and you even got the special editions where they had two people on the covers.
Monday Night Rants on Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. Joining us right now to play a game we call Feeling Lucky Punk is our great friend, Eric Moody. He is a writer and on-air personality over at ESPN covering the NFL, NBA, and WNBA, and a great friend of us here over at Front Yard Fantasy. And I'm excited to play some Feeling Lucky Punk. Moody, how you doing, my friend?
No, doing pretty good. Fully caffeinated, ready to go. And as soon as I found out the title of this game, I immediately thought about Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood. So I was smiling ear to ear. But yeah, looking forward to playing this game and catching up with everyone. How's everyone doing?
Oh, he's
I
got
think
the
of
gun. He's got
SpongeBob and Patrick dressed as Dirty Harry in the episode where they're making fun of Sandy for being from Texas. That's what I remember.
Moody got the guns blazing this morning. Let's go.
Guns blazing.
Well, Moody, we brought you here to play that game, the one feeling lucky punk. This game is the game where our contestants are going to have to play a little bit of intellectual chicken. Jail is going to throw a challenge to us. Like, how many of the top 12 PPR wide receivers from last season can you name? Now, us contestants, we're going to have to bid on how many we think we can name. Whoever has the highest bid, though, has to put their money where their mouth is, or I guess more accurately be put their points where their mouth is and get that correct. They have to name every single one that they were trying to name. If they do not name it, those points will go to their opponent. John Luke, which opponent will they go to? How are we doing that? The next in order? No, the next highest bid, right?
Sorry, say it one more time.
True. It's usually a one-on-one game.
If they'll go to the next highest bid, I believe is how we did it last time. So if Moody bids 7, I bid 6, Coop bids 5, we'll split those points. But the point is, if you don't name all of them, if you say you can name 7 and you get one wrong, those points are going to your opponents and not to you. We will go like this through a couple of rounds of intellectual chicken until we have a winner. Scoring points or not scoring points. This game has been a blowout every single time we've played it so far. So let's see if we can get a close game today.
All right.
Well, Moody, gotta warn you, they end up being blowouts because when your opponent gets all the points, you end up going on tilt. So all of a sudden the score is like 15-1, and you're like, well, now I have to go big, and then you mess it up, and the opponent gets like 30. So we've had some games that I think finished like 35-2. So look out for that.
Wow. All right.
I will mention one more rule. After you name the number that you've said you can name, or done the number that you said you could do, let's say you said 5. You can choose to continue going, but you do risk losing all of your points. Every additional one you name will be worth 2 points. But if you say I can name one more and you get it wrong, you lose all of those points, including the 2 you just tried to earn going to your opponents.
Ouch.
Careful now.
All right. Moody, you'll be giving our first bid on this first prompt here.
Okay.
A feeling lucky, punk. All right, Moody. Tell me.
Okay.
How many of the 22 current NFL players who are quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, who played football at Ohio State and participated in at least one game this season can you name? So basically, how many active skill position players in the NFL came from Alabama? How many can you name out of the 22?
I think so. Ohio State.
Alabama or Ohio State?
Oh, sorry, Ohio State. Ohio State.
Okay. So I just need to name a number that
you think you can do. Then if you win, you'll have to do that for those points.
That played one game, you said?
Played at least one game, yeah. So just
this
active.
Year.
Yeah, that the only reason that's in there is just to say like active players this year.
Okay. All right. So that's a tough one, man. You're throwing me.
So you're just doing the starting bid, so you can start wherever you want, and everybody else can bid up, and you have a chance to respond.
All right. So what kind of bid can I put in? Like any point number?
However many you think you can name. So how many active NFL players that went to Ohio State do you think you can name confidently?
Okay, I'd say 5.
5. All right. Starting bid is set at 5 by Moody. Simon, you are giving our next bid here. Would you like to bid up?
I'll say 7.
7. All right, Coop.
I'm not going to go higher than that. I'll pass.
Pass. All right, Moody. Back to you. Would you like to go higher than Simon's 7, or would you like to let Simon play?
I know like 6 for sure, but then I'm just gonna be throwing them against the wall if I go 8. That's why I had to jump out.
All right. So stick with 5 or go to 7 or 8. Let's see.
Or 8. You would have to outbid me if you wanted to play this round.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just stay at 5.
Okay.
Yeah, let him in.
All right, Levi. All right, Simon, you won this bid. So at 7, so you are going to have to name 7 current NFL players who played football at Ohio State and and participated in at least one game this season. And I'm sorry, I did say the wrong number at the top. It was 17.
Okay. That's fine. I'm not. Yeah, that doesn't change it.
It shouldn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is correct. Yeah, he's on this list. So that's your first one.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Also, that is correct.
Chris Olave.
Olave is also correct.
Now, this player played at Ohio State, but then went to a different school. Can I say Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow is correct.
Okay.
Yes, he's on
this
this
list. Because he went to Ohio State, but then he went to another school. So I've got 4 so far, and I know more wide receivers, but I'm blanking. Michael Thomas. Is he Ohio State?
Michael Thomas is correct. Yeah, he's on this list.
Ooh,
and just a reminder, this is QB, running back, wide receiver, and tight end.
Okay, and I have how many now? I have 5.
You have 4. You have Justin Fields, Ezekiel Elliott, Chris Olave, and Michael Thomas.
What about Joe Burrow?
Friendly reminder.
I said Joe Burrow.
You did say Joe Burrow. I'm sorry.
Friendly
reminder for the chat. Play along with us. Throw your guesses in the chat. The contestants should have their chats closed so they won't see your guesses. And if you get it right, we're going to praise you.
We do.
Right,
my problem here is I don't know if this guy played a snap this year, but it is the next name coming to mind. Braxton Miller.
Braxton Miller is incorrect.
Damn it. I didn't know if he was still hanging around and played a snap or 2 this year. Shoot.
So Moody is going to get these 7 points because he was the second highest bidder here.
Yeah. So the 6 I had that I knew, I wrote them down here. I had Fields, Olave, Zeke. I also had Paris Campbell and Terry McLaurin.
Shoot.
Campbell and McLaurin.
Hold on, let me pull up the list again.
Those are correct.
Yeah. And then the last player I had was J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins is also on this list.
I did not have Burrow. I did not have Michael Thomas. That was a good pull, Michael Thomas.
Moody, you got any others to add that weren't said?
Yes, I did have Dobbins. That was one. I'm trying to think about any others. Noah Brown. That was Ohio State, right?
Noah Brown is correct. Yeah, he's on this list.
Yeah, wide receiver. I know that was one. And then the other names that were mentioned. Paris Campbell. Did anybody mention that one?
I said Campbell.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Campbell?
I said Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell's in there.
Yeah.
Trey Sermon.
They had a tight end that was drafted last year at like the end of the draft, and I just forget who his name was. He went like
Jeremy Rucker.
On the Jets. Jeremy Rucker on the Jets. Yeah.
Jeremy Rucker. I
totally forgot his name.
Luke Farrell, Jameson Williams. It's another one.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Garrett
How
Wilson.
do we forget Garrett Wilson?
How are you not with Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams? We should be getting those.
Yeah.
All right, Moody, you are in the lead here with 7. Nice start. Simon, I kind of like this second person mechanic because it kind of gives you incentivizes you to be a little bit riskier.
I was trying to get there. I thought I was gonna by going to 7. I thought I was gonna push Coop to 8, and then I would sneak in and steal those points, but it didn't happen.
Yeah,
and then,
I like that a lot.
And then right afterwards, I named 8. Like I could have got 8 if I just thought like Garrett Wilson. How the hell no one said Garrett Wilson?
All right, let's get into our next feeling lucky punk prompt. Let's see. Simon, you will be giving the first bid on this one, and your prompt is very similarly. You might have heard me already say this one, actually. How many of the 22 current NFL players who played football at the University of Alabama and participated in at least one game this season can you name?
Oh, I feel like it's a lot here.
So many, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, man. I'm just getting these down just off the top of my head. I'll say 9. I bet I can name 9.
All right, starting bid is set at 9. Coop, what would you like to do?
I'll go 10.
Yeah.
10. All right, Moody.
I was thinking 10.
I know, dude. I know.
Yeah.
Good God, they just keep every time I think I hit a wall, then like 5 more pop up into my head.
You know, I guess I'll. I don't know if I feel comfortable going above 10, and so I may just go at. I'll go at 9. There we go.
No, you got
so If you're gonna either you
Go
like
higher.
outbid them because you're gonna try to take the win there,
Yeah.
or your bid
Oh,
is set
okay,
where
yeah.
it was.
Yeah. So yeah, it would have been what it was before, which is
Only one person gets to
nothing
play.
yet.
Whoever bids the highest. So you can either bid 11 or it's
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
Or more than 11. You could
Get
you
in
could-
there,
you could-
dude. Get
you could
in
get
there.
some more.
I'll do 11. Let's go
11
crazy
for
here.
Moody.
All right,
I
let's
like
do
it. All right, Simon.
He had his
Back to you.
coffee and he's feeling like Clint Eastwood. That's what he said when he came on, and he's living up.
Dirty Harry.
I have 10
Dirty
written
Moody.
down. I've got 10 down that I'm very confident in. I think I could probably pull one more, but I don't know if I could pull two more, and so I'm gonna let it sit here. I'm gonna let it sit at 11 and let Moody play unless Coop swoops in and tries to play.
All right,
I'm
Coop.
not gonna go 12.
Oh, you guys convinced Moody to go
The
to
other-
11 and then
yeah.
you fail.
Well, for me,
Oh.
I bid 10. So if Moody doesn't get this, then I get the point. So
What a bunch of
I'm
jerks.
comfortable. If Simon had gone to 12, I might have even gone 13 just to keep myself in the running here. But I'm gonna let him go.
Dang. All right, Moody.
Okay.
You
All right.
won this bid at 11. So you have to name 11 without getting any wrong. 11 players who played at Alabama, University of
Okay.
Alabama, and played at least or was active in at least one game this season in the NFL.
Okay. All right. I'm just kind of going through my list. So and it's got to be a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
geez.
Kenyon
Oh,
Drake.
thank
That's the one I had.
God.
Kenyon Drake.
Nice.
Kenyon Drake is correct.
Okay. Amari Cooper. That's another one I had on there.
Cooper's correct.
Let's see. My guy, Jerry Judy.
Judy.
That is also
Yeah.
correct.
All right. So that's 3. I was thinking Calvin Ridley, but that would be a no. We got to go with Josh Jacobs. I'm sure. Yeah, Josh Jacobs. That
Josh
guy?
Jacobs
Yeah.
is also on that list.
All right. So this will be number 5, right?
Yes.
Tua. I'm going to go with my Dolphins here. Tua
is
And-
correct.
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle, yep.
Okay.
At 6. You're at 6 now.
Damian Harris. I was trying to think of the recent Alabama
Correct.
guys. It's another one I'm thinking about if he played, so I'm gonna fade that one, cross it off the list. Go with my running backs, Mark Ingram. That's another guy.
Yep.
All right.
So you have 8 now. Currently, you need 9, 10, and 11.
Najee Harris. Same with
Najee Harris is correct.
Oh yeah. I forgot
Until I
about
thought-
that.
I'm counting, and I
Devontae
thought he had
Smith?
9 after the last one. I think you might be one
Devontae Smith.
behind.
I have
Devontae-
Kenyon Drake, Amari Cooper, Jerry Judy, Josh Jacobs, Tua, Waddle, Damian Harris, Mark Ingram, and Najee Harris.
Didn't he
Yeah,
say
I'm just,
Jamison Williams as well?
well, now I'm
James
saying
Williams went to Ohio State.
Devontae Smith. I'm just thinking about the players over the last like 6
Devontae
to 8
Smith.
years.
Devontae Smith is correct.
And then you gotta throw Jalen Hurts in there, right? That counts.
Mhm.
Jalen Hurts is also correct. Yeah. So you have hit 11 here.
All right.
Simon, is there any that did you find the one that I missed? If I
I
did miss
thought it
one?
was James Williams. I thought he said it out
Okay.
loud.
I see. Okay.
All right.
It's Jalen Hurts. That's 11. So Moody, you can choose to stop here and get all 11 points,
Okay.
or you can continue to name players and you'll get 2 points per player that you name. But if you get it wrong, all your points are gone. They're going to go to.
You know what? I am feeling lucky, gentlemen, because I'm a huge Crimson Tide fan, born and raised in Alabama. So I'm going to keep going.
going.
Derrick Henry.
Oh,
Derrick
boy.
Henry is.
Absolutely right.
Yeah,
He's
he was
100% with
Alabama.
Alabama. I know for a fact.
So you got Derrick
Yeah,
Henry.
yeah, Oh yeah. I just couldn't see him in the list.
Julio Jones.
Yep.
Julio Jones is correct. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw one more, and then I think I'm gonna be done.
I hope this is wrong so bad.
Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson is correct.
The
I'm
only,
done. I'm eyeing
Done
this
at
out.
14. Moody.
the only other
You
two
You
I
didn't
had,
even want to go to 11.
Mac
So
Jones.
he didn't get 14 points. Doesn't he get 2 points for each of those?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
he gets 11
he got,
plus 6, 17 points.
yeah, he got 17 points.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Simon?
The only two that TJ Yeldon was one I had on my list, but I wasn't sure if he played a game this year.
Yeah.
And then Mac Jones was the other one listed. And also, if you didn't say Jameson
Jones,
Williams,
yeah.
I would have just given you a free one. I know you said he went to Ohio
Jameson
State,
Williams
Coop,
was on
but
this
he
list.
transferred to Alabama from Ohio State. So
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
When you said that, Simon, I was trying not to do anything because I'm like, yeah, he's on this list. But
I had it checked on my.
honestly, he didn't
I
say
had it
that.
checked. I was checking him as Moody said it. I must have just checked the wrong one next to it.
Yeah, I have
OJ Howard.
OJ Howard, and also I have one, but I don't.
So much talent on the team.
I think he might have got hurt before he even played a game this year, so he might not have counted. No, I think he played a little bit. Irv Smith Jr. played a little bit before he got hurt.
Irv Smith, yep, he's on Alabama. Alvin Kamara.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is one. He played briefly for Alabama.
Then he went to Tennessee after.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man. Bama.
Campson, Jerome Ford, Miller, Forrestal were the
I would have got
lesser knowns.
smoked. I would have got smoked on this one because my original list where I was like I could name 10. I forgot it was just wide receivers and running backs, and so I had like a couple defensive players on my list that I would have been in trouble on.
Yeah.
Nice
That's
job,
funny.
Moody.
Nice job. 17, bringing you up there. Oop, I gave those points to Coop.
It's 24 to 0 now.
I forgot Moody had the original. Got the points from the original one.
To the chat,
what really put it over the edge was I remember seeing like a tweet that had, I guess, like different players that Alabama had on their team at one point in time from, I think it was like 2016 to 2018. So I was really pulling from that tweet, and then I remembered a few additional ones as we kept going. So I felt comfortable I'll be able to get to 11, but initially I was like, but it's funny with the amount of talent that Alabama has been able to accumulate over the years. It's truly impressive. So.
I love that the first one you named, there were names like Derrick Henry, Jalen Waddle, and you started strong with Kenyon Drake as the first Alabama player. And Moody, the reason I think that's funny is the first name I wrote down was Kenyon Drake.
It was Kenyon Drake.
Same with me. Yeah. I also wrote Kenyon Drake first. I don't know why he's so that big.
He just screams Alabama for some reason.
Yeah, he does.
And boy, I like that. All right, that was big, dude. That's why these turn into blowouts because now you have 17 more points than me.
Yeah.
So I have
24
crazy
because he got 7 in the first round as well.
Oh, that's right. So you have 24 to nothing. So it's like now we have to go crazy, and when we don't get them, you just get more points. So back against the wall. Let's go.
All right.
Got my our next prompt here. Coop, you will be guessing first on this one. How many people in your phone book are you willing to call live on speaker and say a phrase of my choosing before hanging up immediately?
3.
3 people. Moody, would you like to increase that bid?
Oh, this is tough. So I'm sitting there wondering what kind of phrase is Jean Luc.
I will say the phrases will not be anything bad. They'll just most likely be like weird.
They'll be silly. They're
yeah,
not
like a one word thing you say and then you hang up.
I had to text.
It won't be anything bad or really embarrassing.
Playing this game before, I had to text like 5 or 6 different people. Like woohoo!
Oh, let's ride.
No, Yips Skiddly do. Let's ride. Hogs up. Wouldn't you agree?
Wouldn't you agree at the end? Yeah.
All right, I'll. That's funny. All right, you know what? I'll go with 5. I'll go with 5 here.
Whoa.
I like it. Let's go big. Let's go big, Joe. Let's go big.
Well, I'll go 6. I'll call 6 people and say a phrase of your choosing on the phone, JL. I don't even talk to 6 people regularly. This is a mistake, what I've just said.
The 3 people I was willing to go to 4. The 3 people that I'm with right now, which are my mom, my dad, and my wife, and then Nala and Coop. Those are the people I'd be willing to call.
You're going to call the people in the room with you?
Yeah, I was going to cheat. So I'm going to not call 7 people. I don't have time for that.
All right. Moody, would you like to go higher than 6?
You know what? I'm going to stay at 6.
You stay at 6. Sorry, I meant you stay at 5. So
Or
Simon,
5,
you win
5.
this one. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm
You got
ready.
your people picked?
No, we're going one at a time. I've got the first one, and then we'll pick the second one when it's time for the second one. What's my phrase for this first one?
You should have to start at the top of your phone book and just go down.
Absolutely not. Like that is an entirely different game. There's a 0% chance I'd play that one.
Yeah.
All right, Simon, you call them up and say, I don't know. What'd she say? Say
It's your prompt.
I know. I should have thought of this beforehand.
You didn't even think of it? Sorry, it's 2.0, y'all.
All right, yeah, I like that. It's 2.0, y'all. And then, but Simon, then you have to wait and you have to say it again. So you have to have a pause. If the person answers, if they respond, say it right after they respond and then hang up. Or if it's a voicemail, just say it and hang up.
Okay,
or
so I got
say
4
it,
minutes.
pause, say it again, and then hang up. Is what
I have to go more than.
I got an idea.
What's up, Moody?
He should he should like sing like part of the or say the line like from the Police song, the do 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 da da da. All I want to say to you, hang on.
I wish I knew that song better to commit to that. I'm going to bungle. I do not know that song at all.
We'll do that on the last call. All right, Simon. So do you understand what I said, Simon, about the say it, pause, say it again?
Please pick up. Who are we calling?
Jay.
Hello.
It's 2.0, y'all.
It's 2.0, y'all.
Jay.
It's 2.0, y'all. Okay, there's one.
All right.
I forgot we call like Jay and Joey and people, dude. Oh, I could have gone.
So how about this? I'm gonna up the game. This is my girlfriend's best friend that I'm about to call right now.
Shorter pause, Simon. Shorter pause. Make it more natural.
Shorter pause. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna. Okay.
That pause is excruciating.
He just accidentally
even
called
though
him.
it was,
I actually called him. I didn't mean to. Okay. Well. Oh God. If she answers, my girlfriend's gonna get a text in like 10 minutes.
Good morning, Simon.
It's 2.0, y'all.
It's
It's 2.0, y'all.
Oh my God.
There is two.
Yes. Yes.
There's two. This is
worth it,
my college, one of my college best friends and former roommate in Atlanta that is being called right now for number 3. My heart is
keep calling people until you beat Moody.
Hey.
It's 2.0, y'all.
What happened?
I said it's 2.0, y'all.
Oh my God, you're moving to Atlanta.
Okay, that's 3.
You're moving to Atlanta.
He said, "Oh my God, you're moving to Atlanta." He's calling me back.
Ignore.
Yeah, you have to call back for the show. We only have a couple minutes left.
I know. Okay, I'm trying to hurry this out. This is my girlfriend's other best friend.
Man.
All right, well, we can make this the last one. You'll do the rest after.
Okay.
Good morning.
It's 2.0, y'all.
It's what?
I said it's 2.0, y'all.
What is happening?
Yes.
What is happening? I love how the
You know what
boys
the
are.
worst part is? I still lose. I just did that and I still lose. Well, Moody,
You still
on
have
that
like
note,
15.
that is gonna, we've got about 40 seconds left. That was the end. But Moody, you're going to win in a dominant fashion, a score of 27 to a potential 6 if I do 2 more after this to 0. Everyone, if you're not following our friend Moody on Twitter, go and follow him right now at Eric N. Moody and check him out. Check out his work at ESPN on air and on their website. And stick around here tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time for a live Q&A on the Bettor Sports Network after the Dallas Mavericks and New Orleans Pelicans game. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Another big thanks to Moody. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Have a great one.
It's 2.0, y'all.